There we are.
Buenos dias, buenas tardes, everybody.
Hola.
Welcome. Isaac, how you doing, man?
I've been very sick for a couple days.
Yeah, you're slouching
better.
pretty low in that seat.
Particularly because I got my new
Poncho
shirt.
Ah, this is what you're telling me about.
These are the ponchos. Very nice.
So,
They're
is it
actually
made
great.
out of like poncho material, but looks like a actual golf shirt, or
Nah, it's like just
No.
standard. It's semi-polyester.
semi-polyester? Okay.
Yeah, no, but it's good. It's like it's vented. These are little magnet pockets, which are great.
Ooh.
They're really magnety.
All right.
Man,
all
I
right.
got to get some like younger friends. I got to get out of these kinds of conversations.
It is true. This is kind of like an older. This is like 30 plus.
Bad shirt, bro.
At
Bad
least,
shirt.
probably 35 plus.
We're not
Maybe
only
a
talking
40
about
plus
shirts, we're talking about the magnets that enhance the pockets of the shirts.
Well, they have
Yeah.
a big
Much
warning
better.
on the website that if you have a
Okay,
pacemaker,
boomer.
You can have a pacemaker.
yeah,
You can have a
it'll-
pacemaker.
So this is like for cowboys, dude, and it has a little pocket here for miscellaneous, perhaps Hestia cigarettes. You can
Yeah,
fit
check
right
it.
here.
Oh no,
Yeah,
Hestia's
no.
go in the front pocket.
No,
you
dude,
chuck
there's
the
a
flap
stick.
ends, and
I
it's
love
up
it.
the front. You always
Look,
want
there.
this
Yeah,
stuff
look. It's like
that.
an additional.
Ah.
There's an additional pocket here. It's
These are
actually
my
really
fake
nice.
Is that like
Hestias.
to make it like you have bigger pecs? You can like slide some stuff
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, this is
All right.
it's great. And then on the bottom, there's a little sunglass cleaner. By the way, I don't think they'll ever sponsor us. I think they're based, but they're not as based as us.
I don't want them to sponsor us. I want to do a article on them. I want to go like hang out. I want to send somebody, excuse me, to hang out with the guy.
Yeah, send them to me.
Where is where are they
no,
based?
Got to be Texas.
It's somewhere in the South,
Yeah, I think they're in Texas.
but they're a really cool brand and they're really good. Like these shirts are like addictive. I can totally see why.
And they're
people wear them.
stretchy. Kind
They're
of like my
kind of stretchy and they're really like it's been so
Swag
fucking
t-shirt?
hot here. It's like very well vented. It really is a superior.
I
it's a
hear the
superior
weather in
shirt.
Pasadena's pretty fucking shitty.
Pasadena. Yeah, no, it's been we're in one of those LA heat waves that comes around every like 5 years where it's just 95 degrees every day for a month.
I'm gonna say
Which we haven't had one in a while.
that usually doesn't happen until like October.
No, yeah, it's been we had like the best weather I've ever seen in here ever. Like in COVID and after, it was like wet every day. It was gorgeous. It was like
This is even
green
more
all the
Denzel.
time.
Yeah, this is even more old man talk. Talking about weather.
Let's just talk about the
weather.
weather. Can we just
Talk
talk about the
about
weather for the
sweating.
next 2 hours?
If only I
The
had
weather's
2
been
hours to
great.
talk
Guys.
about the weather. I would
weather
be
in
there.
California,
Crack
it's
this one.
really
There you go. David, where do you live?
Austin.
Austin, of course. One of the Austinites.
Boston.
Yes.
Wait,
How
Austin
long
or
have you
Austin?
been in Austin, David?
We moved there in October of 24.
So you're one of the gentrifiers. You're
I
one of
mean,
the
you know what?
newcomers.
I don't take that shit because I was born and raised in Corpus Christi.
Nice. There you go.
So
I didn't know
my
that.
my great granddaddy signed the Texas Declaration of Independence from Mexico and then went to kick Santa Anna's ass. So
That is awesome. I'm actually listening to a Mexican War book right now as we speak. I'm a
All
big
right.
fan. Big fan of the
There you
Civil
go.
War. All the Civil War generals fought in the Mexican War, and they were all like BFFs back then. It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Dude, some leftist was telling me that Corpus Christi is a dead city now. Is it totally dead because of data centers? There's no water.
Oh yeah, well the water is a problem, which is strange for a city on the coast because it's the desalination doesn't work so well. Really, Clinton kind of killed the city. I mean, 2 things killed the city. My granddaddy, my mom's dad, was in oil, and it used to be a pretty major oil port for drilling offshore in the Gulf, and that all moved, of course, up to Houston, so into Galveston. So it all just, by volume, it just got sucked away. It didn't make sense to have 2 ports within close proximity to each other. And then it was holding on to the Naval Air Station, which was a pretty significant pilot training, naval aviator training ground. I used to go see the Blue Angels there every year, Naval Air Station, Corpus Christi. And then that was one of the places that got cut during Clinton's first term. And so, that kept a lot of young pilots and their families would move in there and then transfer out for 3 years, and a lot of them would come back and work in industry because it was a nice little beach town. but it doesn't have a lot there left. I was last back there for spring break last year. My little sister came down with her sons and my parents, and April and I went down there with our children. She was pregnant with our third at the time, and it's a beautiful beach, but
I think that
all it has to say.
coast of Texas is the least known piece of coast in the entire United States.
And hated on, man. I live in New Orleans, so people are always hating on.
Like, it's
or they love it, or they love Galveston.
That's
or they
a
love
big chunk.
Galveston you can shit on all day. But no, I mean, Elon's trying to make it, like Space Coast #2, because it's a southern tip. So Corpus Christi, it's the Bay of Corpus Christi, so it's a bay, and there's a barrier island, and that's out off Corpus Christi, that's Padre Island, and then you go down further and you get to South Padre, and then you get to the foot of that, and that's basically where Elon launches his rockets.
Yeah, look at this shit. It's huge. It's a huge piece of coast, and
They
no
call it
one
Buffalo
ever,
Bend.
no
A lot
one
of it's,
ever
like,
goes here or
inhabitable.
talks about it ever. No one has ever been here.
a lot of that's kind of inhabitable, though. I think it's like
Inhabitable.
very-
It's
Uninhabitable.
inhabitable. So you're saying people
It's
live
very
there?
inhabitable. It does
It's
get
so
it does get
inhabitable.
hurricanes, but I mean, so does everywhere. I mean, hey, New Orleans gets hurricane everywhere on the
yeah.
Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, like
Can
what
I
is
ask, what
going
is,
on with this long ass thing? Man?
what's
This is
the little-
I've never been to this part of the world. It's actually really
South
upsetting. I need
Padre
to
is
go
supposed to
here.
be
Well, go,
awesome.
buddy.
I've heard
What's
South
the
I
Padre.
need to
New
go
Mexico
here immediately.
place right? But is there like a Tijuana equivalent in Matamoros or something?
Yeah, what is
Matamoros.
Matamoros? What is that?
Matamoros is just the first town south, so you can get some fake Cuban cigars. It's a tourist. You walk across from Brownsville, across the border, and
Yeah,
South
dude,
Padre
I
is
mean,
supposed to be
go to the
awesome.
left.
I thought South Padre is like really legit, or is it like kind
It
of
is.
shitty beach town?
Well, no, it's a great. I would drive down there for spring break. It's a fun place to go.
And Matamoros is where most of the
Wow, good
US
pronunciation.
soldiers came in there during the Mexican War. That's where the war kind of started. Was around Matamoros.
Do you know what I found out, Harrison? I've always been giving you shit about being a Southerner, but I found out I'm actually a Southerner as well.
Oh yeah,
So now I'm on the same team as you because the westmost battle of the Civil War happened in Arizona. It
That's
turns
not
out.
how that doesn't make you a Southerner.
So I'm pretty much a Southerner, as much as Harrison is.
what was that battle? What Northern soldiers had gotten lost?
It was
in
like the last
Arizona?
battle, I
Arizona
think, of the
wasn't
Civil
even
War.
It
incorporated.
was like
until,
3
40 years
dudes
after.
shooting at each other in the desert, and like 2 Union guys died. But there's like a little sign in Arizona that's like, "This is the westernmost battle of
So it
the
was
Civil War."
accidental. It was an accidental battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically a little like Bloods and Crips action.
Is this,
Yeah, it was a gang skirmish.
Denzel, is this where you live?
No, I'm in an Airbnb.
Are you?
Bullshit.
you think on the
You
salary
take
I
that.
make
Yeah, you
at
take
Mama
that
Magazine,
out.
I can afford a full fucking metal knight replica as
it looks
decoration.
shitty,
You probably
honestly.
get that at like World Market for.
Yeah, I was about to
$12.99.
say that looks like a world market shitty.
That is
that
not
doesn't look-
a real. It's not even the right size. That thing's like.
That's
4
not
feet tall.
regulation armor.
Knights were short, but not that short.
And then
No,
you
dude,
have like these
my
weird-
basement apartment, which has mold and rats and roaches, is getting mold treatment. So they put me up in an Airbnb.
Oh,
for 2
nice.
days. Yeah.
And where are you? Are you out in Pasadena near Isaac?
No, I'm in the East Village right now.
Okay, got it. I don't know why. I just assumed since y'all were working
Which
together.
for a Southerner like me is just way far from home.
Oh, that's a Southerner like you. Are you from Arizona then?
I'm a long way from Dixie. I'll say that.
Well, yeah, I was born and raised in Corpus Christi, and I used to live on the Upper East Side. So, Upper West Side. Then I got bed bugs, similar to like what you're going through, and so I just hopped across the park to Upper East Side, and lived above the oldest Jewish bakery continuously operated in New York, Ohrwasser's Bakery. It was amazing. They had the best
Nice.
pumpernickel and rye, man. I ate it all day.
Yeah, David, tell us a little bit of your story. I'm not as familiar. I know that you know these guys a little bit, but I'm sure our listeners
know
would be
them.
interested.
Isaac just messaged me on Twitter the other day. I have no idea who these idiots are.
Same.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Corpus Christi, Texas. I used to take long walks on the beach and fly my kite, go fishing.
Awesome.
And yeah,
Probably
I
really good
dropped that
fishing
all.
down there. I bet
There's the best
nothing
fishing,
better
the
than
best
Gulf
deep.
freaking
Oh
fishing.
gosh,
Damn.
my grandfather's old office had, marlin and tarpon mounted on the wall, and he had a telescope in his office. You could see down into the bay, and when the fish were running, he'd get down and do his real work, get on a boat, and
Fuck yeah.
it was the fishing there is amazing. I mean, I grew up eating seafood all the time, and we don't really do that in Austin because my wife rightfully doesn't really trust it a whole lot, being so far inland, I guess. Also, she's from Detroit, and there's not really good seafood there anyway, so she's just not as accustomed to it.
How did
But
you
I mean,
meet a
yeah,
girl from Detroit? I didn't even know they had. So your wife's black, right? I didn't know white people lived in Detroit except for Eminem. And he's
Hey,
not
man.
white. I mean, he's not white, right?
I met my darling wife in Chicago. She was born and raised in Detroit. Her family's tied into the car industry, and so yeah, still Detroit. It still
Her name's
exists.
Ford.
Her name is General Motors.
Her name is
Michelle General Motors.
Michelle General Motors.
There you go. But
How'd you get into tobacco?
yeah. So
Other than
after,
your family's history of owning slaves,
other than that,
probably more
further
cotton.
back.
Texas is more of a
Yeah,
cotton state.
Texas is a great cotton state, but Texas used to grow on the east side, basically north of Houston. They used to grow tobacco there, and one of my goals is, because of the way the FDA is structured now, the blend is a grandfathered blend, and Isaac knows far more about this. We can get into the details, but it's really boring and not worth talking about. I couldn't just change up the makeup of the product. You have to get federal approval for doing tweaking and whatnot. But my vision and goal down the line is to get some farmers to start growing some tobacco in East Texas again, and then have a Texas blend, because that'd just be fun, because it just hasn't been done in 100 years. But we're a few steps away from that.
That would be sick.
After I was living in New York on the Upper West and Upper East sides, I got let go of the hedge fund I was working for up in Greenwich, and my boss called me into his office and said that if I was enjoying what I was doing, to go to a grain trading company and to learn the nuts and bolts of the commodity business, because I was trading commodities, doing analysis for that. And I went to school in Chicago, and so I thought I'd be going back to Chicago. As I interviewed with this company that was headquartered in Chicago. They interviewed me in Chicago, and they offered me a job. And then they sent me a little tour of some soybean farms and whatnot around the Midwest. And then about 2 weeks later, after I've been doing this little tour through, Omaha, Des Moines, all the fun stuff, they said that they had a great job. They were really excited to bring me on board. It was in a little town called Valdosta, Georgia.
Nice.
I was like, well, I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
Little town, like 50,000 people, 16 miles north of the Florida-Georgia line, and it had a lot of valuable processing facility for their organization. And so I moved down there because that's what I was going to do. And these farmers would drive, and we literally would take, we'd buy the soybeans, and then we'd process them into soybean oil, soybean hulls, et cetera. And then we trade that back in Chicago on the exchanges and arbitrage the freight, et cetera. The farmers would drive in, and they'd park in our lot overnight, so they could be the first to dump in the morning and go back to the farm. And so, small little town, I just come from the big city, had nothing to do. So I started knocking on the cab doors of the farmers, and there's like 2 good burger shops in town, and I'd take them out for burgers and beers and just chat them up, because I knew nobody, had nothing to do. The other people in the office were all like, just guys. I didn't get along with them real well, and so I just figured I'll just chat up some old farmers, and a lot of them were actually. I quickly learned that a lot of them were tobacco farmers, and they were growing soybeans and selling them to my company, because they lost out on big tobacco acreage, and they're just, there'd been a decline in smoking. And so they're growing soybeans to make ends meet for their families. But they were like, 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th generation tobacco farmers on their family land. And
8th generation.
Yeah.
That's like 16.
Oh, wait, back to the war. All the
OG.
way back.
Yeah.
So I like I mentioned, my maternal grandfather was in oil down here, and my mom actually lived a couple years before Castro took over in Havana, because they were drilling offshore, he and his brothers, and he used to bring back a lot of Cuban cigars. And so I was introduced to fine tobacco at a very tender age, and have never looked back. And so I posed a pretty simple question to these farmers. I said, I've always I've always loved tobacco. Why do cigarettes taste like shit? And they're like, oh. I thought they'd like, give me some explanation. They're like, oh, well, this is because they use shit tobacco. Like, it's that simple. It's not actually tobacco. It's called RTL, reconstituted tobacco leaf. So in the same way that orange juice that you buy, like the condensed stuff isn't actually orange juice, because they got a thing to say that you can say that's not from concentrate, even when it's from concentrate, and it's not even like, it's all garbage. They got something passed through the USDA or something that you can call it tobacco leaf as long as it's part of the tobacco plant. So it's called RTL, reconstituted tobacco leaf, and they take like the stalk, the stems, all the not great parts of the leaf of the plant, and they emulsify it, roll it, treat it with chemicals, and they dice it up, and that is what is in your tobacco. It was in your cigarettes. So like. And what you're actually tasting when you smoke most cigarettes is not actually tobacco. It's all kinds of, it's called humectants. Those are the flavorants, keep them humid. The number one buyer of cocoa, like of chocolate flavoring in the country, you would imagine is Nestle. You'd be correct. The number two is Marlboro, or Altria on behalf of Marlboro. So the characterizing flavor of a Marlboro cigarette is actually chocolate. Marlboros were originally made to be a cigarette for women. That's actually what they made. The Marlboro brand was created for women to differentiate from the other Philip Morris brands at the time. And then they realized it was being picked up by a lot of men, and so they transitioned to their branding.
Wow.
And
so they at some point were like, it's just because that's like one thing when you hear about all the slop that's in food, you're like, how is it cheaper to put all this bullshit in it versus just like put the normal sugar?
Well, you expand it. So again, if you could only use the tobacco leaf, well, then you're very limited in what you can, you have the leaf. If you can use the entire plant and then treat it and flavor it, well, you just get more. It's basically something that was being, like Crisco. Think of, I don't know. Do you guys know the story of Crisco? Cottonseed? Cottonseed is an oil, but it's toxic and kill you. And whatever the Nabisco, whatever the company was, Procter and Gamble, 100 years ago, figured out that if they treated it with all these harsh chemicals and then hydrogenated it and fluffed it up, it would just pass muster to be safe for human consumption. And then cottonseed, which was heretofore discarded as, they didn't need it, but they had all these extra cotton seeds that had oil in them. So they found a use for it that was otherwise dead, as dead stock. So similarly with RTL, this was something that's getting thrown away. It was refuse. It had no commercial value at all.
Stems and like little flower, or just like little leaves, I guess. Like there's a certain leaf you need to
the stalk of a tobacco. So a tobacco plant, they grow about as tall as like a sunflower. So like a sunflower, like 6 feet tall, and it flowers at the top. Beautiful flowers, pink, white, 5 stars, or 5 petals. The stalk is like a sunflower, so it's like hard, but like it's not woody, and so you can emulsify it, and then you can also have the branches that go off from the leaf. Yeah, there's some tobacco flowers.
Yeah, this is
good stuff right there.
So
we only use the Ligero. So you see the Ligero, they're the top leaf. So we only. If you're not going to use any flavoring in tobacco, that's a nice little segue. Thank you for whomever pulled that up. The only way you get flavor is through the naturally occurring sugars in the plant. And as you might imagine, through photosynthesis, the most sugars are going to be at the top of the plant, not the lugs and cutters there at the bottom. And so we only use the top leaf of the best plants grown in the U.S. And that is what makes all the difference. There's no secret recipe or anything. It's just. So back to the story, about a few weeks later, when the farmers came with another load, one of the farmers brought me a trash bag full of tobacco leaf, because he still grew some for personal consumption, and showed me how I could convert a paper shredder into cutting tobacco leaf. And then I used those little injector things, and I started playing with blends and screwing around and making really, really tasty cigarettes. And so that was the summer of 2010, and that was kind of the nexus, the beginning of what became Hestia cigarettes.
Wow. So you're bringing back the golden circle.
Yeah, I mean, it's just doing, anything worth doing is worth doing right, and it's just doing cigarettes in the purest possible form, the best form.
This is great. I didn't know
where,
this. I didn't know this. There was different parts to the tobacco
oh yeah,
plant. So like, so these are. So I guess these are like these are too mature to be like yummy. Essentially,
I mean, they're in big tobacco plants, but yes, they're the early leaves, and they're lower to the ground, so they're not prime. You want the best, the most flavorful is going to be your Ligero there at the top. It's going to be the sweetest and sugariest, and if you're not adding anything, then that's what you're going to want to use the most of that.
So a good tobacco has high quality, or a good cigar, I mean, has like they're taking, they're doing this versus like you get a Phillies blunt or something. It's just like all this.
Yeah,
like
yeah. Now cigars, slightly oversimplified. And I'm not going to correct you because I love cigars are always going to be my first love. I love them first. I love them the best, and it is, part of, I guess, the Hestia journey is bringing sort of the art of cigars to a cigarette, but not an actual cigar, that, and everything else. But there is an art form to it, and a cigar has 3, sometimes 4 different characterizing tobaccos, and they're all from different parts of the plant, and they serve a purpose. Like you have a thin, usually Connecticut shade wrapper. Now that's a big leaf, not the top leaf, because the Ligeros are smaller leaves, tastier but smaller. So you need the big broad leaves of Connecticut shade wrappers to bind a good size like Churchill cigar. Then you have and then you have the filler leaf, which is usually curled, and that's going to be depending on whether it's Cuban tobacco, Dominican, etc. That's going to be the mid leaf, and then you're going to have the flavor that's going to sort of go around on the outside of that filler. That's going to be sort of what your flavor is, and that's why if you look at an ember of a cigar, you can usually see we don't really see the binder as much because that burns off right away, but you'll see the difference in sort of the central core leaf and then sort of the outer leaf around there. And that's how yummy cigars are rolled. So I've never been a torcedor. I've never rolled a cigar, but that is I've seen a lot of videos on it, and I've seen them done in Vegas a few times, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Are you gonna get in the game? Are you gonna get in the cigar game? A Hestia cigar ever?
No, and the reason I would never do it is because other people already do it so well. I don't think there's anything more perfect than a Monte Cristo. Now, depending on your mood, you may not have an hour and a half to smoke a 14-inch cigar, but it is the most perfect expression of a tobacco leaf, in my opinion. And there's Romeo and Juliet, Churchill's. There's a lot of really, really beautiful, excellent cigars, and I don't think you see new cigar brands pop up, and they go to these conventions and shows and try to sell their stuff, and I guess good luck to you, but it's been done so well.
That's a good question. That's like a good. It leads me to this question because, like, it seems to me. So, is the regulation and everything around cigars just sort of wide open? Anybody can start a cigar thing, and it's like if you have enough money to market, you can kind of like get into a market or whatever. You can do a bunch of stuff. Cigarettes, it's like you can't do it. That's why it's so fascinating what you've done with Hestia. It's like there's way more regulation around it. I don't know if that's is that DOJ or is that more Philip Morris?
Well, Philip Morris might own the DOJ.
Okay, yeah. That's so great. I worked for a marketing agency. One of my first jobs was
Leo Burnett.
Our job was to create labels for cigarette packages, and our client was the DOJ. I guess the cigarette companies pay the DOJ all of that settlement money, and all that money goes towards like the truth campaigns and the labeling on cigarettes.
Yeah, dude, this is something I've learned.
Shit.
Well, it's not the DOJ. So that goes to what's called the NAG, the National Association of Attorneys General. So which is like the state, a collection of state-based DOJs, but it's not the federal DOJ. And it's a distinction without any merit. It doesn't really matter. You're obviously directionally correct on that. And you're also correct about the cigars. Same with like pipe tobacco. The only thing truly regulated, and it has to do by weight. If it weighs more than a certain, if each individual consumable product weighs more than a certain amount, which is any premium cigar, then it's not as regulated. You still have to pay a tax. But
why is that?
But there's not just like a
ridiculous.
Well, yeah,
no,
I mean, all the regulations,
thing.
So there's 2 main regulations that have come down in the past generation since I started Hestia. or since right before I started Hestia. In 1997, there was the Master Settlement Agreement, and that was a big thing with the warning labels and everything else. And that was the NAG that I just mentioned. That was 46 states. So the only outliers are Texas, Florida, Minnesota, and Mississippi. But the other 46 states formed a cartel for tobacco tax purposes or tobacco settlement purposes. And so I have to pay about $9 a carton on every carton of Hestias I sell back to the NAG, the National Association of Attorneys General. And at the end of the year, they tally up how many cartons I've sold in each of those states, and then they remit the settlement money to them. It was supposed to be a one-time payment. So what happened, it was signed in 1997, and that was the multi-billion-dollar lawsuits that happened that you probably heard or saw about. What happened is then the little independent players didn't have to pay that fine. Basically they found the big tobacco players were corrupt and had deceived and said that cigarettes weren't addictive and all the other nonsense for a long, long time. And so they were found liable. And the problem is now they have an extra $9 a carton that they owe. Whereas little players, and there were a lot of little players at the time, didn't owe that $9 a carton. So they were like, that's awesome. We now have a huge competitive advantage, and taxes back then were less too. So now you're looking at you can sell a product for half price and it's a better product. And so big tobacco started losing significant market share almost immediately. And so they sued.
Who did they lose market share? Any brands we would know?
No, they've basically since disappeared. But I mean, right. There's a lot of smaller regional players. Like there's a brand called Wild Horse. There's a brand called Cherokee. Those are both in the Carolinas and Virginia. Okay.
I actually just saw
a brand called Excalibur.
I saw a new brand the other day for the first time in a really long time, and it was terrible.
What was it called?
It was so gross. It was like a dude's name. I can't remember. It was like Ken or something. It was like Tim.
Ken?
No, it was just like one dude's name, and it was in this kind of like light blue package.
It was a cigarette,
like brand. Yeah, it's a new cigarette. I've never seen it before. And it was just tobacco and water.
It was probably a lot of I assume.
And it was so disgusting. It was really.
Send me a picture of the packaging. I'd be interested.
Fucking smokable. Yeah, I'll find it. It was in the like a gas station, and I had a weird feeling about it. I was like, "There's something weird about this."
It's just an off-brand they're creating, right?
No, but dude, you know what this all amounts to, and this is what I've realized in talking to David, is it's soft nationalization. This is soft nationalization. The federal government has nationalized the tobacco industry.
Of course,
that's it. That's what it is. They've taken over the tobacco industry, and the tobacco industry works for the federal government. They give $9 out of $10 that they make to the feds, and the feds control it completely. So that's why, of course, they hate
$9 out of $10 goes to the feds.
Something
it's
like
not.
That, right?
No,
how many out of 10?
About 5.5.
Yeah, so half the money.
So I'll give you our economics. We sell a carton to distributors and the distributors, of course, mark it up and add state tax, which we can model out. But we sell a carton to distributors for $72 a carton. That's 10 packs, and about 25 of that is tax. So that's a third right there. But then the distributor takes it, they add a few bucks to it, and then they add the state stamp tax, which for California is about another $20. So now you're at about $45 on an end product. So call it, you buy a pack of cigarettes for $11 or $12 in California, probably $4.50 to $5 of that is tax.
Right.
So wait, so what percentage? Dude, when I do new cigarette brands, Hestia comes up. So yeah. I just don't think. I mean, I think that's pretty much the deal. Is that it's just elaborate on that. They just own it.
It's time to start cutting the heads off senators. If that's true, if cigarettes are being marked up that much, I'm ready to go storm the Capitol.
I mean, Denzel, are you not paying $48 for a pack of cigarettes in New York City?
Yeah, but you pay $48 for like a kebab or
it's all the same.
Toothpaste. So I had no idea. You don't know
Well, hold on.
I buy so many cigarettes.
Yeah, I want to because so I want to go back real quick because to get into so there used to be these smaller regional brands that were not essentially part of that
correct
giant case, and so they were like, okay, so we actually can gain some market share right now What year? So this is mid 90s, late 90s?
No, this is now early. So it was signed in 1997. So now we're at like
Okay.
1999, 2000. These brands are really picking up steam and gaining market share against Big Tobacco. Big Tobacco sues them and says it's not fair that you don't have to pay the tax that we have to pay. And they say, well, we're a new brand. We weren't the ones that were sending sales guys to children's parks and handing out cigarettes for 30 years. So no, like that's on you, pal. They sued. So Big Tobacco sued these smaller companies and got a injunction against them, forcing them to now have to. So I have to pay for the malfeasance of Big Tobacco to keep the playing field level. So that was their big win. So now everybody has to, except they actually get it better because they got an exemption. So the way it works is they made the initial payment of billions of dollars, but then moving forward, they only pay pro rata on new market share that they gain. So if they were selling 100,000 packs a month beforehand, and now they're selling 102, they only pay tax on those 2,000. In fact, Denzel, you'll appreciate, well, you'll actually be sad about this. When I lived in New York, I used to go down to the flagship store of Nat Sherman's, and they are, we can get to that, of Nat Sherman's, right there next to the public library. And I get cigarettellas, which are their unfiltered cigarettes. Loved them. Altria bought Nat Sherman not to continue the brand. You can't find Nat Sherman's anymore, but because they had a significant, in the tri-state area, they had a significant following. They were bought just for their annual exemption from this tax scheme. So they shut down the brand, but it made money for them to co-op that exemption. And so if they were selling 200,000 packs a year, whatever it was, it made sense for Altria to buy them just so they could get an extra $200,000 a year exempted from tax. So that was step number one. Then they realized they needed to do more to prevent people like companies like Hestia from ever existing. And so on top of that, in 2009, the first thing that Obama did when he came in, like it was a week after he came into office in January of 2009, signed the Children's Something Health Act that gave the FDA control over tobacco. Or over cigarettes specifically. The FDA doesn't control alcohol. There's a whole other bureaucracy called the ATF, which is the Holy Trinity. All the good things in life come out of the ATF,
right?
Or are regulated by them, and that wasn't enough. They wanted Big Tobacco was very much in favor of getting regulated by FDA because then it would prohibit. So then they passed a rule saying that unless you were legally marketed on the random date of February 15th, 2007, you had to go through a multi-year, multi-million-dollar approval process to bring a new cigarette to market. I thought I could game that, having gone to law school, and my father is a litigator, and I thought we could, put our heads together and work our way through the bureaucracy. 10 years later, I ended up acquiring a defunct cigarette brand that was legally sold on that date of February 15th,
that was the right move.
And it was then rebranded as Hestia, and that's what we now know as the Hestia.
What was the old one? What was it before Hestia?
It was called, it was a small brand. It was just
called Old Black Man.
It was called Old Brand.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like the only one that has survived, this soft nationalization is American Spirit. Because it's like you can't ban the Indian guy.
Isn't American Spirits just Philip Morris?
No, it is. But I'm just saying that one is like got popular, and is like totally everybody's cool with American Spirit because, it's like, oh, it's Native Americans. So we should do one that has a super Jewish name, and then they can't ban it. We should make,
Smokestack.
Ari Soros.
I would never smoke a Jewish cigarette.
Goldstein. Goldstein. That's a good name for a cigarette.
Bro, Smokestacks. I have it. That's the name of the Jewish cigarette brand.
Smokestacks.
No. Yeah.
Smoke Cats.
Let me get a stack.
Nah, dude. Yeah. This is crazy. So it's literally impossible to start a cigarette brand.
No, it's nationalized, dude. It's when they put it under the FDA, it's
nationalized is the wrong. I think that's the.
It's soft nationalization. When they put it under the NDA, they made it so that no cigarette brand could ever exist again.
I understand what you're saying there, but it's more of. It's almost like it's now. It's just big pharma now, essentially. and you have to go through all the
dude.
hoops.
So this
essentially a
new
big pharma
brand,
company, right?
this new brand that I thought was a new brand is actually a rebrand of Nat Sherman.
Huh.
Look at this.
Which
Look
is
at
called
this.
Nat.
Speaking of Nat Sherman, so it's called Nats.
Look at this. It's Nats. This
So
is what they're doing.
Altria just
Oh,
bastardized the
so-
product. That doesn't surprise me. That's sad.
Yeah, look, Nats.
Oh,
Nats.
That's
oh,
It's
that's
Nats.
sad.
yeah. So
It
that's
was
Altria.
disgusting, dude. It was
Oh,
so gross.
I used to love the first
Unsmokable.
cigarettes that I would smoke regularly was when I was living in New York. Like go through a pack or two a week. Cigaratellos, by Nat Sherman.
So it's not a new one. It's just a fake new one.
Well,
It's been bought.
It's bastardized. It's like when Dave's Killer Bread or the Primal Food, like all the cool cool mom brands get bought and then turn into they get bought by fucking Procter and Gamble and they get turned to shit.
Right.
That's so. Who owns American Spirits? They're not their own company.
RJ
right?
Reynolds. So
That's
RJ
RJ,
Reynolds. RJ Reynolds bought them. There you go, man. I loved those. Oh, I can taste them right now. They were great.
Dude, I know this podcast is really making me want to have a cigarette.
Dude,
This is
I
Mark,
bought a
fun.
pack of cigarettes today because I had to stop smoking weed because I'm getting
Camel
really
Blues.
fat. Yeah, so I had to
We'll
do
get
my
you some
Camel.
Hestias here. To answer
Dude,
the gentleman's
please send me
question,
some
and for
Hestias.
Raleigh, we've been pivoting manufacturers for an extended period of time, thanks to a lot of bumfuckery and bullshittery in the industry. And
Well,
we
yeah.
are,
So I'm
we're
curious. now,
finalizing our way back to market, and we'll be soon.
Yeah, I'm curious. So let's do because you came on the scene pretty strong, and if you're kind of like an like a retard that loves Twitter, you saw Hestias
Guilty.
everywhere for like at least a year or two, and Isaac was probably half the reason for that too, because it was Hestias were everywhere. Everybody was smoking them, and nobody had. The first Hestia I had was who's our guy in LA? Oh my God,
Adrian.
No, it's a guy who worked at the Blaze with me. Oh my God, I can't even remember his name now. Who's our writer? The writer guy at that whose house burnt down in California. The greatest. Can't even remember his.
Matt
name.
Himes.
Matt Himes. God, yeah, I'm sure he's watching because he watches.
Dude,
all the episodes.
he needs to write for Mama. Why is
He
he
does.
not
Matt
writing
Himes had a bunch of pack of Hestias.
You gotta
in Dallas
add
one
Matt
time. I
Himes
probably
to the
smoked
Mama
30
Boys.
Hestias on one good night, and I really respected that. The next day, I did not want to kill myself because
It's good clean
was
tobacco. That's all it
huge.
takes.
No,
Because
it's
I'm not
really
like a huge
true.
smoker.
Hestias are the best cigarette in the world. It's not even close, and it's even better than this shit. I buy because I'm too broke.
Are you
I
the
buy
RYO?
the Peter Stokely rolling tobacco,
Yeah.
which if you roll a cigarette, supposedly it's like less, like weird chemicals or whatever. But it doesn't.
Well, you don't
even
have to use the
compare
chemical
to
paper.
Hestia.
So all of my competitors use. So since 2003 or 4, something like that, you have to use fire retardant paper.
Oh, right.
Because there's a
people used
certain
to
amount of
fall
idiots who
asleep and
fall
burn their
asleep.
houses down.
That's right. So that paper doesn't have to be fire safe. So the way we don't get around it, we have fire retardant paper, but the cheap way to do it is to impregnate your paper with the little rings on it, or vinyl acetate, which is plastic. Again, smoking tobacco, you can say what you want about it. It's not smoking plastic, which is just pure poison. There's a very expensive way around it where they use natural algae substrates impregnated into the paper. Which actually is it makes the tobacco actually taste better because of the moisture that the algae releases as it's smoked, as it's burned. So that's what we use. We pay an arm and a leg for it, but if you're going to do something, do it the right way and the best way, and so that's what we do. And that's one of the reasons why your lungs don't feel like death the morning after, because you don't have plastic residual shit in there.
Yeah. Because I'm like a psychopath, like especially if Isaac's around and we're drinking well into the night. It's got to be it's a 2 or 3 pack evening, and we're going.
Those are the good ones.
Yeah.
So we did. So what's been happening with Hestia over the last couple years? I thought I think you've been dealing with some nonsense, right?
Yeah. They didn't want to let me out of the gate. So we got out of the gate and launched really strong, and then I brought on basically I outgrew my first factory, which was a very small factory in upstate New York, and they really couldn't keep up with production, which is a great thing to have. So I
Yankees
moved
can never
to,
keep up with production. They don't have foreigners anymore. They only have Irish and Italians. You got to get those guys out of there. You got to bring that shit down south, dude.
so I moved.
Polish
I moved production
Haitians.
down to North Carolina.
There you go.
And we, had a really great contract. The CEO of the company at the time was a good friend of mine, and a former president and CEO of Swisher America.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a great guy. The private equity came in, and he was removed from CEO, and they put in this this Toad
Douchebag.
placeholder, who promptly took our pricing, which was $1.96 a car. So we pay for obviously like premier tobacco. Like all our components are very expensive, but the actual cost of the manufacturing, like you put in all our components, and then you on a very expensive machine, and you push play, and our cartons of cigarettes come out the other end. We agreed to pay $1.96 per carton for that, which is the high end of average. After a couple weeks, literally like 3 weeks, they said your new price is $6 a carton.
Whoa.
And I said, well, our contract says it's $1.96 and goes down at volume. So anyway, that happened in December of 2024, and we were paying the 6 under protest. Then in May, a few months later, they raised it to 10.
What?
And then last
what was
a year
their
ago,
thinking? Was it just
they could just
out, or was it to push you
part
out?
of the problem with tobacco. So if I want to, well, I own the Hestia cigarette brand. I own the trademarks. I own the FDA grandfather. I own it. But on a state-by-state sales registry, they require that the manufacturer of record be the one that fills out and signs the paperwork, so you can then assess the taxes against that. I don't own that. So I have to go in under a factory's umbrella. And so they used that power to hijack me by basically saying that. They finally raised my price, they said they're going to raise my price to $15 a carton, just for the So now we're at over like 7.5x degree, and that's
And
destroying my brand.
And what is their rationale? Is it
they thought that they could hijack me? So then when I refused to pay it, they said, well, then your contract's terminated. I said, okay, whatever, I'll go get another manufacturer. That's what it takes. And then we were licensed, we were permitted to sell in 22 states at the time. And they contacted all 22 states and had the Hestia brand removed from the registry to be legally sold.
So in order for you to get back into distribution, essentially, you have to find a manufacturer that will basically sign off in all those states.
That was our thinking for a long time. We found another. My lawyers have found a better way through it. That's going to be
don't reveal the secrets. But that is, dude, that is like crazy.
Well, basically, we're becoming a manufacturer for registration purposes. There's a way that we can be the manufacturer of record. It's not that big of a secret. It's just a very legally cumbersome way it's sort of modeled, and it's actually the modeling is used very much in the alcohol industry, where not every small independent brand owns their entire factory for production, but there's ways that they are able to register themselves and not the person who owns the warehouse where their stuff is manufactured.
Right.
And so we're using that kind of template in our space, which hasn't really been done in tobacco before, but there's no legal reason that it can't be. And so that's what we're moving forward with, and we expect to get back
is that where do you feel like that's where like the angles go? Hestia is like you're just thinking more creatively and more forward thinking than
more Jewishly.
Yeah, there you go. Well, the other advantage to this, and I told Isaac this the other day,
but it's like you have to think differently than everybody's thought in the cigarette business for 100 years, because it's been owned by the same 4 players basically for the last 50 years. So it's like you have to play every little game just to get out ahead, almost, it seems like.
That's
I mean, the proof is in the pudding, dude. What is one profitable category that there isn't constantly new entrants in? Cigarettes is the only thing, and it's because again, it's been soft nationalized. It is a government. The government makes cigarettes.
There's not a bigger moat in the world.
I mean, I really think that's basically true. Insofar as nationalization goes, I don't think there's any more obvious example of it than this.
Well, they don't. But there's no.
I
Like,
think
there's no
your
tobacco
direction is correct, guys. I
subsidies,
completely
are there?
It's the reverse of subsidies. It's
No,
like
it's taxes.
even
They
more.
used to pay
Exactly. It's
farmers
like worse
subsidy.
than subsidy. It's
Yeah, no,
subsidies
it's
would be
almost worse
not
than, like,
nationalized.
I don't. Nationalize is like not the right word. There's
That's
another
what do you
word.
think happens when you nationalize something? All
It's
that
called
happens when you
cartel.
nationalize
It's called a
something
When I
is
think of when I think of nationalize, I think it's like the government is actually doing everything, and so it sucks. But they're actually making you do it, and then they're
that's
like,
what
"Give us all your
nationalizing
money."
is. Nationalizing
Yeah,
is you're
maybe.
taking something private and then you keep doing it, but you just give all the money to the government. That's what
And- but-
nationalizing means.
But the big tobacco is in on that game. They want it to be like this, right?
Well, they want it to
In
be like
some
this
ways.
now because they want it to be like this now because they've been Robert conquested into
Right. They don't have to
bureaucrats
pay for-
who the whole job it is. Have you seen like? Have you ever actually
Insider.
Googled one of these guys who runs the tobacco?
They don't have to pay
companies?
for marketing.
They're just a complete schmuck.
They're McKinsey
bureaucrat.
guys.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
No,
I mean, they're
no.
not
They're
a
not
real. They're not
actually
like a
like farmers
founder.
or-
You know, they're just a fucking commissar.
No, I get
Well,
it.
it's
Yeah,
not like the
this is
guy
sick.
in the Lucky Strike guy in Mad Men, not the gay one, but his father, who was like just an old farmer who just loved cigarettes. I forget it. I forget the guy's name. They had the Lucky Strike.
Right. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
sad.
dude, and you know what's another funny? You remember "Thank You for Smoking"?
It's a great
Which
film.
That's what I was meant.
did you know that
That part's great.
fucking Teal and Musk produced that movie?
They sure did. And
That's fucking wild. I
William
always
Buckley,
loved that
William
movie. I
Buckley
love that
Jr.
movie.
wrote the screenplay.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
dude, amazing.
fascinating.
I'm pretty sure. You check my work on that, but I'm pretty sure Buckley
Well, David,
Buckley Jr. had a
this is
say in
interesting
that.
though, right? Like, you seem like well connected. You haven't been able to get a carton in RFK Jr.'s hands or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a little bit of help with this admin at all. Nothing, or is it just like the
No,
money's
it's-
too big on the
No,
other side?
it's that's a funny example you give, and we're very thankful that a lot of people at that level really do enjoy the brand, and we're very honored about that. But there's just fundamental things in place regarding past administrations that can't be easily overcome.
Sure.
But again, that's why we're
it's like
excited to
deep.
way forward.
I mean, it's basically
And the other
in the
advantage of going
Constitution
this
almost.
route, because the liability was on the factory, for like the taxing purposes in a lot of these scenarios, the larger factory forbade me from doing the D2C, which is how Isaac came in contact with the brand, which is how I was able to build the brand initially. And as I go ahead and can restructure this as being my own manufacturer, or our own manufacturer, I ought to say, we can return to that model. We're really excited about it. I've got about 1 minute before I've got a curtain call here,
okay.
and have some toddlers.
I'm sorry I've hijacked this completely, but I'm so
No,
fascinated.
this is good. This is good.
So you were able. So why did they not want you to do D2C? Liability?
Well, yeah, because if there are any taxes not paid or anything, it'd be on them, and they could lose their standing and license. And they didn't. Look, I wouldn't trust some small
so
guy
if you,
that's come up and has a whole
I
thing.
see. So they're like,
It's just
oh,
because
this
it
guy
would be me
David could
doing
be
it,
a
but it would be
goofball.
it could be their liability.
I see.
So,
I see.
and I honestly, I understood it, and I'd hired two guys at the time from Big Tobacco that had been very successful to spearhead the brand and help grow it and the footprint. But then what I realized is the Hestia brand doesn't want to be in every single gas station across the country. It really needs to be more selective and more focused and applied in that manner. And so that's where
like Dunhills. I can't get a damn Dunhill except for a frickin' cigar shop,
exactly. So some
Dude, wait, one more question. Hold on. I had Mexican parliaments that I bought in Mexico recently, and they were so much more flavorful than American. Is that all in my head, or
I don't know. It could have been on the age because it could have been. I don't know. I don't know. I've never had I don't think I've ever had Mexican parliaments.
it tasted completely different? It was like Mexican Coke. It was a whole other thing. It's really good.
All right, interesting.
Have you ever smoked London Treasurers?
I've
Those
not.
cigarettes?
I've
So this
not.
is apparently the branding is very black. It's very like BET if you look at the branding, but this is the most expensive cigarette in the world. It comes out to like $3 something per cigarette in a pack. It's like
London
40
Treasure.
bucks for a pack.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you
London
one thing before I have to
Treasurer,
go.
London
Don't-
cigarettes.
A writer for Paris Review sent this to me because we're going to be featured in Paris Review at the end of the month.
Nice.
And the focus of the piece is on the rarest cigarettes in the world, which are not Hestias. Well, they might be Hestias because we've been off market, but these North Korean cigarettes.
Ooh. Cool.
Dude.
Wait, show them to the camera. Show them to the camera.
That is
darling wife says they taste like
727s. Those are sick.
Yeah.
man.
Damn.
Hold on, hold on, hold them back up. We're making you front and center real quick.
There you go. There's your 727s.
Oh my
Very
God.
cool.
Beautiful.
smoke
Can we
the
see?
shit
Is
out
it
of that
open?
right
Can we see
Oh, yeah.
one of the cigarettes?
Here. Again.
Have you smoked one yet?
What's that? Yeah, I've smoked a couple. There.
Wow.
And my daughter's crying in the background.
All right. Do your thing, man.
There you
They're
go.
beautiful,
David,
beautiful
dude,
cigarettes.
They taste terrible. They taste like Febreze. It's highly.
Oh, no.
Well, if you think about it, if it's grown in North Korea has the same latitude as like Wisconsin. Imagine trying to get
They're
tobacco.
growing. Oh, so it's North Korean tobacco. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
You're
it's
not
all
getting
North
it.
Korean.
Where else you gonna?
No,
get
we
it?
got to set up like a
no one's
backroom
importing
deal.
tobacco into there.
Let's set up
You're
a backroom
not
deal
allowed
to
to do
protect
that.
this tobacco farmers, dude.
I know,
Yeah.
crazy. All right, hey, appreciate you.
All right,
great to see you,
Sley,
Denzel.
thank you so
Great
much,
seeing
sir.
you. Bye.
God
Good
bless
to see
you.
Bye.
That was awesome.
Dude, I will
What a
say,
Sorry, I know I
there's
talked a lot as I
something-
usually do, but that guy, I think it's so fascinating, the tobacco game, the story, and I love that he's just like out there like, fuck it, I'm going to war with these
Yeah,
people.
well, and he's actually did. This is why we need more. Like everybody we have on the show should be a mama boy in the sense that they should be doing
Sure.
something like that, where they're actually building something real that isn't just political whining. You know,
So true.
and it's like he's so legit. Like the shit he's doing is 1 billion times more legit than any right wing publication
I
at all.
agree.
Like, you know, he's like
I
doing
agree.
so much more to help, like actually create, and that's why they fucking hate him. You know, it's like they hate him because it's like, oh, he's actually doing it. What they want
Dude,
him
you know
to
what's
become.
funny? Keep going. Sorry.
What they want him to become is exactly what they're turning Spencer Pratt into, which is a guy like with a show about communism. You know, that's what they want. That's what they want to turn everybody into, is a right-wing show where you complain about the communists.
Yeah.
Like that's what they want
right
us all
now.
to be.
That's where you have the least power. No, but you're
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
But
Because it's
here's
like
what's
all
even
you
more-
are is just a.
But
a
I think what's
veto
more
power.
interesting about him is like I don't even think he's gotten to that layer yet. He's still dealing with just
No, he's in the
pure-
trenches, bro. He's
Yeah,
fighting
like
the fight,
still
like for real.
in-
Yeah.
He's just fighting the machine, which is actually what that is, right? He's actually deep fighting the machine, where to the point where I'm like, I mentioned RFK. There's no chance RFK is not smoking his cigarettes at his house. You know what I mean? But like even fucking RFK, the guy who's in charge of the FDA right now, can't even help this guy because the machine and the layers are so much deeper. And so if he were to ascend, I'm sure then you get because he puts one ad in a magazine or something like that. Then the political savages, then they're like, wait, is this a racist cigarette?
Yeah. No.
This
Well, they
a
already, dude, when he came
right-wing
out,
cigarette?
just like with fucking Mama, when he came out of the gate, when he got big enough, when he was in the New York Times, sure enough, we were actually both in the New York Times about him. And sure enough, he got fucking brigaded for like 2 weeks. Do you guys remember that?
Yes.
You remember
And
when
they
he
were
got like
saying he was
ultra brigaded?
Jewish.
Yeah,
And
well,
they were
yeah,
like,
he's
like
Jewish. He's
right-wing,
same
right-wing
complaints with
cigarettes,
us.
but he's Jewish.
He's stealing the online right. It's like, no, he's making cigarettes, you fucking retards. What are you talking about? It's
But I
like,
just love that they were like- I just love
what-
that I was
what?
like, and dude, I think that was like 2022-ish, 2023.
That was more recent than that. That was like, yeah, that was
Maybe
like
2024.
like 3 years ago, probably.
Yeah. No, it was like,
I
it was like
know, time
24 or
flies.
25. But I remember being like, wait, they care that he's Jewish and he's making cigarettes?
What
Like,
did it
is-
say
I
about
didn't
him
know.
being Jewish?
Nothing.
It said it
was
like in the article.
No, he
about-
has a giant Star of David tattoo right here. So they, of course,
I didn't
dug
know
that up. They dug up all this bullshit of, oh, he's a fucking Jew. It was the same thing as us. It was like
Well,
this
yeah, no, it
vague
wasn't-
complaint. There was no real complaint.
There's
It
no
was, he's
complaint.
Jewish.
It's just he's Jewish. It wasn't New York Times. I'm just saying, like, the internet started being like, it was like grapers were like, oh, let me smoke my Hestia. And like, it's just like, it would just, they basically put
Yeah.
a picture of like your face smoking the cigarette.
Yeah.
Like hook nosed, like
Yeah,
one
just
of these
hook-
little guys.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they tried to take
Vampire
one of these
face.
pictures. In the most recent thing, they took a picture of me smoking a Hestia and
Oh,
posted
nice.
it. And the thing that they fucked up, I'm literally wearing a yarmulke in the picture. And they didn't
They
get
missed
it. They it was like kind of visible. And I was like, you guys, is no one at home? Hello, I'm wearing a
Hello,
yarmulke. Can you make
McFly.
it like, can you make this more obvious?
That's so good. I love that.
Hello, I'm literally wearing a yarmulke.
This should
But
be
yeah, no,
easy.
dude, Himes brought that was the first time I met Himes too. It was like the first time. It was January of 2024, actually, because I had just started at the Blaze that summer, and yeah, it was the first time I met Matt Himes and our girl. What the fuck was her name? Helen Troy.
Didn't she defect? Didn't she defect?
Troy.
Didn't
She
Helen
defected
Roy
from
defect?
Salem. She doesn't write anymore, I don't think, or she's like totally about. She's
Dude,
one of the
I'm
greatest
pretty
writers
sure
ever.
Helen Roy like defected completely.
What do you mean
She's,
defect?
Like, not. I think she's like not on the right anymore. I think she's on
She's
the
just
left.
not. She doesn't do any of that shit anymore. She doesn't care. I don't think.
I
She's
think
got, like,
she
12
like
kids. She's legit.
I think she like
She's the
turned
best
against
writer. She's hilarious. We hung out.
I'm pretty
and-
sure she is not legit, bro. That I don't mean
Well,
to.
I
I
don't
don't,
think
mean
she's,
to blow up anybody's spot right now, but I'm pretty sure she
Legit
like.
in what way? She's not like a libtard.
Yeah, I think she like went
No.
against. I think she was like a plant kind of thing.
Never. No chance. I mean, I've hung
I'm
out
gonna
with her
text you. I'm gonna
drunk.
text you. I'm gonna text
Well, maybe you
off-
have something that I
off
don't know
screen.
about. But
I have
gotten drunk with
actual
her late at
information.
night, and she is super right wing. It wasn't faking it.
I don't
She
think
wasn't
so.
faking it.
I think not true.
know. Well, we'll ask
Dude,
her. I'll get her on the
Just
pod.
air it out. What's going
No,
on?
we'll get her on the
No,
pod.
she blocks me, bro. She blocks me.
I think she might have blocked me. She just hates everybody. She's very like she just thinks everybody's faking gay, which I appreciate. But Matt Himes
no.
is there. We'll look into it. We'll see if we'll get her on the podcast, have her explain herself. But we smoked so many Hestias that night, and I'm so happy because I'm somebody that will smoke. Like I can smoke a pack of cigarettes in a night.
Yeah,
if
dude, I'm the same. When I start
Easy.
drinking, I start drinking, I can smoke an entire pack of cigarettes, and then I can just totally stop. Or it's
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
no, I
get
have
addicted to
no-
it at all. Yeah, I don't like do it then the next day.
Did your dad ever smoke weed or smoke cigarettes?
My dad?
Yeah,
He very rarely.
'Cause my
he
dad
smokes
smokes
weed. He
cigarettes.
smokes weed all the time.
well, my dad smoked cigarettes pretty much my whole life. And I remember being in like third grade, flushing my dad's cigarettes down the toilet.
Wow.
And my mom was like,
What a
"See?
faggot, dude. If my
know.
son ever
I
fucking
trust me."
flushed
And I
my
was
cigarettes
young,
down
I was
the toilet,
very
dude,
young, and I remember I would yell at my dad. I was like, "Dad, I don't want you to die." And I remember the look in his face, the look in his face of being like, "You fucking flushed my cigarettes down the toilet? What the fuck?" And I'll never forget because it's so funny. It's like, as a child, I looked at that face and I saw a father that was like, "You're right, son. I should stop." And now I look at it as like a 37, literally basically the same age as my dad now. I think I was like, my dad had me when he was like early 30s. I was the baby of 3. So my dad was already like a grown ass adult. And he was like, "What the fuck, dude?" And I remember him looking at my mom and being like, "Don't encourage this retarded shit. Like, that's $5. Like, we were like a rich family. That was like the thing my dad got to do was smoke cigarettes. And I just remember like now I've apologized to my dad for this. Like, I did this like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, dude, I was such a bitch, dude. I was the same type of bitch. I was,
And I was
except
telling
for my
now I
dad, it was weed.
apologize.
One time I found their weed. I found my parents' weed in their little drawer, and I must have been like 12, 13. And I would always ask them, "What is this?" And they would say, it's tea. And one day I like put 2 and 2 together that it was obviously not tea. And I was like, "This is not tea." And they admitted it. And I like started sobbing and like barricaded myself in my room. I like barricaded myself in a room and like refused to talk to them for like a week because they'd
kinda
lied to
bad.
me about their weed.
That's
Yeah,
so
I was a
gay.
little
You guys were
bitch,
the
dude.
gayest
I was a
kids
huge
ever.
bitch. No,
You're
I
like a
was a
little-
huge little
You're a
bitch.
little
Like,
Nick Fuentes.
I was
You're a
such a
stoner,
little
bro?
whiny
Wait,
bitch,
you're a
dude.
stoner?
Yeah.
You're smoking weed,
Well-
bro? You're the same way now. You're the most anti-weed person I know.
Isaac was like,
I
"You're never going to
smoke
be
weed.
successful. Neither of you are ever going to make
Yeah,
it."
dude.
Look, hey, can we look at Harrison's face and see the benefit of not smoking weed?
No, dude,
give
I
me a
was going to
break.
say
Wait, I
in
stopped
that
smoking weed
interview,
48
in that
hours
interview
ago, and
that you
that's-
were just doing with David, you could not have done that 3 weeks ago when you were smoking
No,
weed.
dude,
You were talking
you're
about
so much better,
statutes
dude.
and,
You are
like
so much better.
referencing legal codes and shit. You were on
Yeah,
your
even
shit.
when
That
you
was
were like going aggressive against me yesterday, I was like, well, at least he's like making sense right now. You're so much more fucking with it and better when you're not high. Like it's like very noticeable.
Also, Harrison, do you find yourself like eating less like a disgusting pig when you're not smoking weed?
The only downside to me smoking weed, other than you guys think I'm retarded, is that I eat too much.
Yeah.
The first time I was on Ozempic, and this was like a couple years back when I lost all the weight, it didn't work for 6 months. And I kept going to the doctor and I was like, this shit doesn't work. And she's like, are you smoking marijuana? And I was like, oh, wait, yeah, I am. She's like, yeah, you can't do that. That doesn't, you'll just keep eating. You're fat. You're a fat fuck. The whole point of the drug is for you to stop eating. It doesn't make you skinny.
It doesn't make you skinny. No,
It doesn't
shit.
make you skinny.
No shit.
Like the whole point of the thing is so you stop eating like a piece of shit, and you're clearly eating like a piece of shit. And that was like, finally, it was like, you know, I was like, oh, okay, you're right. I get it. It doesn't work that way. And then it definitely makes me not want to drink or do anything fun. But then I'm like, I feel a little nauseous. I feel like I need to smoke a little weed. And then I'll do a little bit. But I'm addictive. So, but I'm done now. I think I've smoked out. I did my whole smoking.
Once
thing
you
for a
just
little bit.
gotta like
you're done?
the best way to get off weed is to like have a complete paranoid meltdown a couple times, and then you won't go back. That's why I stopped.
I don't know. I smoke. So here's here's my entire, I'll give you guys a cycle. Anybody who's listening, chime in. If you've been in the same thing. So I'm just an addictive person, right? So like if I haven't smoked for like a year, and this is like, I'll give you an example. I was at Butterworth's, and the owner of Butterworth's, not Bart, some other guy. I'm not going to like mention his name, whatever. He like
Alexander Butterworth?
Alexander Butterworth. Yeah.
I still don't think
Butterworth
that's
himself.
That's his name. That's
Dude,
the
like
other
popped
guy.
out at
That's
some other guy. It was some other guy. All I know is we were outside Butterworth's. It was like 3 a.m. I hadn't smoked in probably a year, and I'm drunk and whatever. He's like, oh, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take a hit. And then like that one moment, I'm like, oh boy, yeah, panic attack. Might cry. I have to call my mom or some shit. And then I will just like, and then I'll just inundate myself for like the next 3 weeks with like nonstop smoking, so that there is no, I don't even really get high. I'm just like, I'm basically just smoking a cigarette at that point. But even though like all the downside effects are still happening. So that's all that happens to me. I don't really like I haven't, dude, I would do anything to take a drug and feel existential dread or something. I just like, now I'm trying drugs.
Dude, that's what weed started doing that to me. I would just get, and still to this day it does. Every time I smoke weed, I still just instant. Like the other day, I smoked.
Don't
like
you
a
know
little
it's just
puff.
like the type of weed you're smoking, bro?
No, and I immediately, it's like I immediately start second guessing everything I've ever done in my entire life.
Yeah, no,
and
it's
being like,
it's
oh,
worse.
that I
It's
think
the
of
weed of
myself as an
today.
asshole. I think, oh, you're so mean. You're such an asshole. You're
Yes.
such an asshole. You're such an asshole. And it's like, you just shouldn't think that about yourself.
It's the worst.
You should never
and
have those.
It is really
It's
bad.
pointless. Really
That's why I
pointless.
smoke until I don't feel that, and then I'm like, you're just a dude. That's chill.
I'm just a nice
Yeah,
dude, bro.
It's so true. But what's crazy is I looked at something. I have a guy that delivers here, so like I literally told him, I'm like, dude, I'm back on Ozempic. Don't even, if I text you, don't do it. Give me 6 months. I got to get back to svelte. And he, but the shit he's giving me is like 40 fucking percent THC. I'm like, what the fuck is this, dude? Like when Isaac and I at Denzel, I know you were just a baby in the crib, but when we were smoking weed, it was like tops 13%. It had CBD in it. It had some other stuff.
Chill.
Yeah.
Way chill.
And dude, you
No,
could
same in high
smoke
school,
a joint
same,
with your
yeah.
friends, and you could just like, you just geek out for 30 minutes, and it's like within 3 or 4 hours, or even just like the next day, you're like, over it, dude. You smoke a joint at like midnight today,
Yeah,
you're gonna like feel it in the morning. You're gonna be like drowsy.
Oh yeah.
There's a weed hangover now.
For days
That was
you're
the
gonna
whole.
feel
I thought
like
that was like the whole point of
retarded.
like people smoking weed is like I don't have a hangover. It's like now people are, and I
Yeah, you're
fully am
fucked up for, like, a long time.
anti-legalization, dude. My dad, who used to whoop my ass catching me with weed, is growing weed in my parents' house. My dad is like texting me, I think I'm gonna try AK-47 or maybe OG Kush this time. I'm like, dude, don't ever text me that ever again. What are you doing? Like my dad texts me like a 22-year-old in Colorado or wherever you guys are smoking weed these days or growing.
Is your
weed.
dad retired?
Yeah, he does nothing. He's chilling.
Yeah.
And he's a
Well, I mean,
redneck
whatever.
gardener. Like we've always had gardens growing up. We always had like hella tomatoes and shit. Like my dad basically like half of our backyard was a farm and we just grew everything. So my dad always did that, but he's real old. He's not moving around as much. And he just started getting into fucking weed growing. He lives in Virginia. It's legal. So he's just got this fucking plant that he treats like a small baby. And he's like petting it and feeding it. And he's on Reddit. So it's great. I love it that he's doing that. But I'm also like, my dad's like degenerate retard. Like, dude, quit. He doesn't smoke weed either. That's the craziest part. He grows it, doesn't smoke it.
He sells it, or what does he do with it?
No, so he'll jar it up, and then my brother's friends will come over. They'll drop a bottle of wine off, and then my dad will gift them like a jar of like an ounce or a couple ounces of his dad weed,
Wow.
which is
He's
like
just
great for
bartering.
them because they're
I just think
all my
weed
brother's
has
friends are like in their
zero.
40s.
Like
If you're
it's
40
like,
and you smoke weed today, it can't be high quality. You'll freak out. You'll have the panic attacks like Isaac.
yeah, I just don't think there's really a lot of. It's just not. It's like if you want to be like a nice guy in college, it's like yeah, it has some benefits. But if you want to like get shit done in your life, it's like the worst possible thing.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I probably shouldn't be saying this. We actually have a lot of listeners today, but we're watchers, whatever. But I just love doing drugs. I love trying.
No, same. Drugs are the spice of life. Drugs are the spice. It's like the spice of
I can
life.
never do shrooms again. I had a bad trip, brother. My first shroom trip. Listen to this. The first time I did shrooms, my girlfriend broke up with me in the middle of a party at the rugby house at Mary Washington. In the middle of the party, freaked out of me. Broke up with me. I was like borderline tear. I basically like had to leave the party because she did this. It was at the rugby house, and I was on the rugby team. But you know, everybody's a faggot in the early 2000s, so they were like, Harrison, it'd just be best if you just left, because all their girlfriends were like friends with her, and I was like, what the fuck is this? You guys are faggots. So I left. Went to my house, pissed. My roommate, who's Patty Chayefsky's grandson, his name's Eric Chayefsky, the greatest. My homeboy, he was legit from Manhattan. He looked like you, Denzel, but way uglier. But not that you're good looking, but he was an ugly guy. But he had the hottest girlfriend ever. So she was there, and her friends were there. They were like these sort of like New York scary girls. You know what I mean? Like if you're from Virginia, you just never seen girls like that are like, I assume they're like
Piercings and shit. Yeah,
they're just like your girlfriend and her friends. They're just like they look like they're like 40 when we were like 18 in college. We were like, what is going on? They were just like very adult and different.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of people I had never met in my life were there. And this dude, as I walking up the steps into my house, is like, hey, Harrison. He was a buddy of mine. He's like, bro, you got to try these shrooms. And I was like, I've never done shrooms. Fuck it. Give it to me. And it was like, I'll just kill myself. I don't even care. But instead of it being like pills and like drugs, it was just a handful of mushrooms at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
First time you did them.
First time ever. It was the middle of the night. I don't know when it was.
Dude, I kind of agree. I
had the best trip ever. It was like everything you're not supposed to do. Best trip ever. And then I've had a couple bad trips, but I'm like, dude, I want to take it to the next level, because I think that's, if you can't handle it, some people can't handle it, but I can. I enjoy ego death. I enjoy losing a little bit of control. I enjoy maybe just I'll cry by myself for 30 minutes, and then I'm like, all right, cool, let's go eat a taco or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think people who have like really negative reactions to most drugs, it's kind of like a little bit gay. Because it's also like growing up, I think a formative coming of age experience, like you need to have really bad drug experiences because it
Yeah.
puts you in a mind place where you have to be like, I'm on drugs, I just need to get through this, whatever. Like that's a skill to be like,
Yeah,
there's
to
certain
be able
people
to
who
get
can't do
through it.
that. They freak out. They
You
can't
know
like
what's
tell
interesting
themselves that they're on drugs and have a level of metacognition.
No, dude, getting chill with like being on drugs is definitely a huge, like for today's world. Yeah, that mental strength that you develop is like massive. You
But
like
it's good for
need
everything.
that mental strength. You know,
It's good for everything. And I use it to train, I think, a little bit because it's the way you just put it. It reminds me like I went to a military school. I've maybe been in trouble a couple times. Like the idea of like, hey, this is going to be the worst thing you've ever been through in your life. But like on the other end of it, you're going to have a better perspective. If you don't have that in every aspect of life, like working for Isaac Simpson's a great example.
Great example.
If you're not willing to go through maybe the worst working experience of your life, you don't get to reap the benefits.
Dude, no, it's so true. Like what I learned having like really bad drug experiences.
I'm joking, but it's kind of serious.
Yeah, like when I an article that came out 4 months ago has like one sentence wrong, and Isaac's texting me like, I'm gonna fucking murder you. You're a fucking retard. You're completely. I go right back into that same like, this will pass. You have to have a level of metacognition of like that you can only get from really bad hellish drug experiences. I totally agree.
Wow.
Damn, so true. I guess that is like why that actually makes sense. It's like the only people you hire are people that have been through borderline.
Oh, that's not true.
Shattering.
I hire all kinds of people. It's just very few people survive, you know.
This nigga, what are you doing? Drooling? Are you drooling on yourself?
Dude, I'm testing out my new
what was that napkin wipe right there?
I'm testing out my new poncho to see how
testing out the water resistance.
Testing it out.
Isaac's going through amphetamine withdrawal, which I understand very well. I get it.
Well, not really.
There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than that those first 48 hours when you don't take 30 milligrams of Adderall. I understand.
Yeah, that's
you can't do anything. You can't move.
Yeah, you're basically fucked, right? Exactly.
Can't think.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Coffee doesn't do it either.
And now my joints are all fucked up again, man.
Oh, that's the worst.
Dude, do you know that gout numbers are up like 150%? And it's because it's not gout.
If you believe gout is a thing.
No, it's not gout. It's from the fucking vaccines, dude. It's from the vaccines. The vaccines just fucked up everybody's like inflammation.
I think it's actually more. I think it's actually probably just a lot of people have been on Adderall for a long time.
It's that too.
If you take literally 2 or 3 days off, dude, I remember vividly because I would only do like 10 milligrams. I was prescribed pills when I was like 10. Like I've been off and on pills forever, and I don't like them. They work for me, but like I don't like them, and it's very easy for me to get into the I'm popping them and chewing them. Have you ever been in that level of Adderall addiction?
What do you mean chewing them?
I literally would pop 10 milligrams and chew them.
Like you're just eating them like candy? Like you're just like eating tons of
like chewable.
Like all day chewing them. And then you'd take off. And I remember I wouldn't be able to like move from the couch, and my knees would hurt, my joints would hurt, shit like that. Yeah. I think it's literally like people are struggling with, I don't know, man. It's hard. I have no theory of mind for normies anymore because I've worked in this world for so long. But I feel really bad for people that like have to go to a job, listen to a boss after COVID. If you're still doing that, and I'm saying some people don't have a choice, I get it, but like if you're still doing that, I really feel bad for those people, and I don't see like the future for how those people live in society.
Yeah, dude. I'm joking earlier, like I'm kind of bitching, but like I could not do it. I could not go into an office 5 days a week and like
Yeah,
sit
that's why I'm
next to
amazed at
coworkers
like
and
dudes like Sterling who left and then went back into the longhouse. I'm like, how could you do that? It would be like impossible. Like you just show up and you're
there would
supposed to
just
like,
be
yeah, let's have a meeting. Like
And
what
dude, the money
what
is not
exactly would
worth it.
happen is there would be like 2 months I white knuckle it and like try to deal with it. And the thing with those jobs is there's like no work. It's not hard. They're not like doing really any work, but like
Oh,
2
you're-
months would go by and I would just leave one day. I would just
Your
walk out
entire
one day,
job-
not email, and just be like, never come back.
Your entire job is the weight of working with people you can't be honest and real with. That is an horrible.
yeah, that is your job. That
And if you're
is
an
your job.
adult person that is meant for anything other, don't get me wrong, man. I have friends that are like, they are the most amazing plug away, show up. Everybody loves them at work because they just get it done. They're nice. Everybody, they're cool. Never an issue. They're the best. Like my friend Harry, I've gotten him jobs at a couple places, and like, dude, Harry's like the fucking best, right? And then there's like, I am not a good person, and this is something I've had a bunch of normie jobs but at least they were on the right wing, where like
Those can be worse though, honestly. Those
they
can
be.
even
I'm
worse.
lucky, dude. I've worked at Daily Caller. I've worked at the Blaze. I've worked at places where people give people. I've as a client. I've had Babylon B. I've had Daily Wire as a client, dude. Yes, there's a level where like if you it's day-to-day nonsense, but I don't know, man. There's always like there's a side of that where it's like if they fire you for being the person you were on Twitter, like luckily we have enough of like some backlash in our world where like I don't know, I feel like I could be like, dude, they fired me because I said I smoked weed on a podcast, and it would hurt them, I think, long term in some ways. Maybe not, probably wouldn't matter at all, but I don't know. There's a lot of ways like I don't know, there's just like people are like, all right, you're a little bit of a nut, but like we are accepting the nuts now because of maybe it's just a Trump thing, but it's like,
yeah. Well, you really can't have like a conservative media career unless you get fired from somewhere. Like you have to get fired.
You have to have an origin story.
You got to have
a
an
good
origin story. Yeah.
My origin story.
The funniest one is Candace Owens, dude. Candace Owens' origin story is so crazy to me. I'm going into Mossad agent mode, but the fact that she started a website for canceling people. She started this thing called like accountabilitysocial.com that was just like making Facebook profiles for people who use hate speech. And then she overnight some incident happens with someone she's working for, and within 24 hours she's a conservative. All of her opinions have changed. Everything she believes about reality.
Isn't her whole story that isn't her whole like origin hero story that she got in trouble for like she got used as a person that was like
a BLM
racially, like she I think was the mascot for some initiative against white people at her own school.
Something like that.
Isn't that it? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like that, yeah.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I don't, but that sounds like it could be.
Yeah, like when she was in I forget exactly what it was, but when I think what it was like something like when she was in high school, some dudes like racially said mean things to her, and then there was like a big lawsuit about it, and she was like at the center of the lawsuit. But she was on the center of the lawsuit, like on the left, like she was the victim. And then I think later she was like, that was not chill. And
yeah, so this is it. This is in 2007, while a 17-year-old senior at Stanford High School in Connecticut, Owens received 3 racist death threat voicemail messages totaling 2 minutes from a group of white male classmates, which included the son of then mayor and future Democratic governor, Denzel Malloy. Owens' family sued the Board of Education in federal court, alleging that the city did not protect her rights. She got a $37,000 lawsuit. So I think because of that, she then started getting, because she was sort of like, even though this is very early, it's 2007, but she was like, oh, so she went to University of Rhode Island for 3 years, left before completing her degree to pursue a career in New York. She interned at Vogue, and then I think
Social Autopsy. Yeah, that's the. It's so crazy. She starts this thing called Social Autopsy, a startup meant to track internet bullies by doxing them. And this was all about like hate speech and being racist.
Well, right,
And
but I
then-
think she got kind of put up to this. Like she got sort of like fast tracked to be like an activist type, and then I think she turned on them. Like Fuentes is the same. He got fast tracked to be like a right wing talker, you know, and
this is
smartly
interesting. This
he
is
was
what
like, "This
happened.
is fucking bullshit."
Okay, this is what happened. She started Social Autopsy. She was doxing people, I guess. In response, people began posting Owens' private details online. With scant evidence, Owen blamed the doxing on progressives. Following that, she earned support of conservatives involved in the Gamergate. Everything goes back to Gamergate. It's so funny. And so Milo and Mike Cernovich started supporting her, and then that made her. In 2017, she said, "I became a conservative overnight. I realized that liberals were actually the racists. Liberals were actually the trolls. Social Autopsy is why I'm conservative." Interesting. So, like you said, overnight, and as it goes,
I understand this, though,
Black
dude, and I
agreement.
understand. I get it. Like this
Just
is
black
also
agreement.
Fuentes'
No,
genesis.
dude,
Like,
Fuentes is much more authentic than what happened with Candace.
no, I think she's legit. I think. I mean, look, I don't.
Fuentes was
I think she's
Fuentes was
completely
canceled
insane
by
now.
Ben Shapiro himself.
Yeah, dude.
Right, fine, but it's like he got brought up by Ben Shapiro himself.
Yeah,
Well,
but
That's
no,
the whole
what
thing.
you're
Yeah,
describing,
sort
what
of,
you're
but
describing
kinda.
with Fuentes is somebody who was on the right but was far right and had Fuentes'
no,
views
this was
were
even
always right.
crazier. Fuentes
So-
was not far right.
Well,
No,
yeah,
he
okay,
was
yes,
a total little bitch.
Yes.
He was
He
a
was
little
going-
bitch
he was-
conservative.
But
Yeah.
Denzel, just to make it clear, because I'm steel manning you in some way, but because he tells the story all the time. He was right wing, but then they found a couple videos of him saying like two things about Israel, not Jews, nothing. It was like, I think he said the N word in one video or something, and then Ben Shapiro said, we're never gonna fuck this guy. He's persona non grata. And then they went on a legit campaign to destroy his life.
Yeah.
The difference is here, if you are a black female, no matter how retarded you are, if you say you're conservative,
you have
or
immediate
something, you will become you have your ceiling is like
they'll
at the
immediately bring you in
Yeah.
and be
They'll
like,
do
you're
Well,
everything
dude,
they
that's
can
what
to
I'm.
help you.
That's what I'm saying. The actual example, okay, the equivalent of this would have been if Fuentes was, he was more normie, but he was conservative, and then they found the few things about Israel or whatever, and they canceled him, and so he went further right, but he stayed with what he believed. The equivalent would have actually been if Fuentes got, campaigned against by Shapiro, and then he came out and said,
but bro,
actually, I just learned that the right are the real bullies.
yeah,
and
but
now
dude,
I'm gonna be a
hey,
leftist,
excuse
and
me,
now I'm a Bernie
Mr.
supporter.
Excuse me,
I agree.
Mr. Fighter for Justice. You also flipped, as did I. We both flipped.
me too.
Yeah, but it's
So
not.
you
like-
can't be mad at somebody flipping because
but
I
it's-
flip.
no,
I
no,
completely
I'm not
flipped.
saying, I'm not saying nobody can flip, but you literally have Owen saying it happened to me overnight because they were mean.
Candace,
Yeah, but
It was very
and
clear that what happened
and I
with
agree
her-
with Denzel here. And the pushback on you, Isaac. She flipped when she realized Milo and Cernovich were on her side, because then she says, "Oh wait, I have a network now." And she immediately had money coming in for that. There's a big difference between all the people that were canceled and just had there's no money. You don't, coming out as right wing, again, unless you're an attractive black female. If you're just a white dude that just like is canceled by the left, there are not a lot of options for you on the right, to be honest. I don't think that's, and I'm a libtard, dude. I totally flipped, and it took, the only reason is because in my interview, I interviewed with Tucker Carlson and Neil Patel at Daily Caller, and I told them I'm kind of a libtard. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia. Like, I grew up pretty libtarded. I'm not like a huge Trump guy. And they were like, "Oh, dude, I don't give a fuck. We don't care. Are you good at your job? Are you gonna like fucking try to like, are you gonna try to like dox us? Like, whatever." They didn't care because they actually believed in every meeting they had. They didn't care. They were like, share all the fucking emails. I don't give a fuck. What we believe in here, we stand by. And nobody agreed with anything. Richie McGinnis was our video guy, and he's probably, I mean, he's as libertarian as they get. He literally and he was there at the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. He got Kyle Rittenhouse out of jail basically in the trial, and he was our main video guy. So like we had all sorts. That red pilled me because they were like, oh, these guys accept all people. They don't give a fuck. They just want you to perform. That was the biggest red pill for me.
Yeah, but that's because the right is losers, though. That's not because the right is that's because the right is losers. The biggest red pill about Candace Owens is that the reason that the right will pick up any black chick who raises her hand up is because the right is the left. It's the same fucking thing. This is Yarvin. It's the right is the left. The reason that the left loves black women
because they accept,
and the reason that the right loves black women is the same reason.
Right.
Because it's the same philosophy. It's the same basic philosophy, which is that if you are a certain race, if you're a black woman, you have magical ideology. Powers.
Yeah, the things you say,
dude. That I do agree with that, and you know what? To be not a Mossad agent for once, it also nobody really ever criticizes Ben Shapiro for the fact that he, like now, Ben Shapiro will be like, Candace Owens is a complete retard who can't pronounce like words and like can't read and is like completely insane, and it's like, well, why did you give her 50 billboards in every major city and like spend $2 million on her show Candace?
Yeah. And there's one reason. And there is one reason, because she's a black chick. That's it. That is the only fucking reason. Well, Candace Owens would have zero career at all if she was not a black woman. We can all agree on this.
100%.
So like,
I think Candace Owens agrees.
When I see Candace Owens, I don't see the fact that it's so funny to me that people like Dave Green. I love Dave Green. We need to have Dave Green on here next time. But the fact that like guys like Dudley Newright and Dave Green, who I both fucking love, by the way, and I've said this to their faces, fact that these are like smart white guys. The fact that they're like sitting around listening to what Candace Owens says about anything is mind blowing to me. I have no feeling about Candace Owens at all. When I hear Candace Owens talk, I have nothing. I just go, oh, great. Like, amazing. Whatever you say, lady. Like, there is no, like, the fact that people are like sitting around worrying about what Candace Owens says, to me feels completely fake and gay. Any grown up man, black or white, any grown up man who's sitting there listening to Candace Owens as if like, that's like something I should listen to is completely out of their minds.
You're saying because she's a black woman.
Because she has nothing to what the fuck could she possibly say about anything? Like she has nothing to offer anything at all. There is no thing that she can say about, I'm not saying that no black women have anything to offer, but the reason Candace Owens is there is because she is a black woman doing what a American white discourse guy, I guess, should be doing. You know, like it's
really, it's a really, because I think Jeremy Boring and I think anybody, Ben Shapiro, anybody would say it's really hard in this game, what we're doing at Daily Wire, anywhere you were at, right? Because the audience believes that you are activists, right? They believe you're a very important part of how I get things to change in my life. And that's an extremely important aspect of how you make talking behind a microphone super valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. People have to feel like it will lead to something.
Right. Because sports was the original political talk. A lot of the formats, it used to be guy talk.
Yeah.
And then
I think you're right. Like, that's a great fucking point, actually. That's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah. As guy talk got moved out because you couldn't be a guy in the late 90s or early 2000s. So like Howard Stern, every channel that was ever guy talk in about around 2010, 2012, all switched to sports talk. So it's like, you get to still be a guy, but we're just going to talk about sports. And so now I get to attach what I'm talking about to your team. And for half of America, sports ball is all they care about. They definitely don't care about politics, especially men. So you get to capture the male audience, which you used to be able to capture by just saying like, oh, oh, this fat cunt is it's like you used to do guy talk. That was Howard Stern. That was Opie and Anthony is comedian guy talk. Then it switched to sports.
Mama Magazine.
Sports only gets you so far, right? Because a lot of people just go, I don't give a fuck about sports after the season, right? They switched into politics hardcore, and there was always politics talk, but never like what we saw after 2016 when Trump got in.
This is a huge Gen Z thing, right?
Yeah.
Like millennial dudes are not down to talk about politics.
Oh, I disagree.
Gen Z dudes like
boomer. This is boomer stuff. This is boomer.
Okay. What do you mean?
Well, I'm talking about a very specific. The talk radio audience in America was still massive until about 3 or 4 years ago. Like I'm talking about legit radio. They get a lot of the formats, political formats started really increasing. So you stopped getting no names and you started putting names out there because you had podcasts and stuff. So Daily Wire, when they signed Candace, yes, the black chick part was important, but not necessarily. They weren't like, oh, we need a young black girl to do this. It was like, oh shit. Because they're in show business. Show business is first, right? They're in business, show business first. Politics is second. If you can mix the two, you're like, that's gold. And so that's why they got Jordan Peterson too. Jordan Peterson was never overtly political. But then when he went to the Daily Wire, it was like, oh, it was like this genius idea for them, even though I'm not sure they even made their money off of that. But for sure, Candace was an interesting one where it was like, oh, she's talking, she's saying all the stuff we want. So we have to, it's show business. So like, she's massive. And then you look at Candace has never been bigger than after Charlie died. And then she did not do politics talk for the past year. Charlie died in September of last year. She's done true crime podcast for the past year, which is the biggest, by the way, the biggest podcast moneymaker in the country across everything. It makes more money than politics, CPM advertisers. Like, dude, it's it's like $40 CPMs. If you can get your ad on a really good crime podcast.
Why is that though? Because it's not listenership.
It is. It's all women.
No, but it's not. But it's not. They're not the biggest. True crime pods are not the biggest pods.
They are
in America. I don't think that's true. If you look at the top overall top, let's look at the 20, overall top 20.
Hold on, no, you're right. They index the highest. I should say that.
What does that mean? 20, index. What does that mean?
There's not that many true crime podcasts, and like there's 5 in the top 20. That's what I mean. Versus like the top 20
the Apple. I'm looking at the top shows. Yeah, you got Morbid. You Crime Junkie number 2. That's true. Crime Junkie is number 2.
Because it's not political. You get women. Yeah, that's a big thing. Conservatives really do not do well with women at all. Conservative talk. Right, so you have to
fucking Rufo and Lomez isn't fucking blowing the doors off of they're not just fucking
not for the ladies. Even though I think they're both.
Dude, this is so weird to look at, and like this is the America B thing. I'm like, Call Her Daddy, New Heights with Jason and Travis Kelce is the 9th most successful podcast in the world.
Kelce.
And why is it? Hold on, why is that? Why is that? Hold on. Let's go back to Isaac's.
Well, these are fake as fuck.
No. I'm about to say, let's go back to Isaac's.
And Will Arnett
Isaac made this point 30 years ago. Taylor Swift and fucking what's his head? It's all fake.
100%.
I get it.
Still believe it.
Hold on. To be fair, Isaac, I think it started off as fake, and I think those two pieces, there's the word vacuous? Vacuous. What's the word?
Vacuous.
Vacuous. I've never said it out loud. I've only read it. Those vacuous, horrible, like just skin deep people. They like met each other and they're like, oh my God, this is great. We just are a living Instagram reel. Let's get married forever. And then they had their marriage at fucking Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, it's fake. The whole thing is fake. It's very obviously fake.
But all I'm saying,
I've never had any doubt that this is
that
fake.
podcast would not exist without Taylor Swift. Think how
I had like
half podcast makes that podcast probably makes $20 million a year. I'm not kidding. That's a crazy high level. These guys are making and this is very important. Last thing I'm going to say about this, I know I'm ranting. Conservative media, it's very hard to get advertisers, right? Most big brands that do branding advertising.
Exactly. That's why it's all gold.
It's all direct response advertising in conservative media.
Shit. Yeah, right.
Exactly. You need the response. dude, if you go on Wondery, who owns those dudes, the two of them, the Kelseys, if you go to their sponsors, it's like Reese's and shit. Like, it's like Reese's doesn't need, but they have some donk that's like, it's a good idea to be associated with this big pocket. It's like a cultural move. It's not a marketing or direct response move. It's like a brand cultural move to like, whoa, Reese's cups be on this brand. You know, it's like it's crazy.
Yeah,
They get all
it's
this.
all entirely fucking fake. It's all it's one hand washing the other. The people who are in charge of making the Travis Kelce podcast big are the same people who, you know, they have the same basic environment as the people who decide what Nabisco spends its fucking money on. It's all one.
And
but this is all besides the point. And you're right that the conservatives are roughly outside of that system, right? That's kind of how it works.
Not even roughly, very much.
Well,
there is no mainstream advertising on any conservative podcast or talker. Not Tucker, not Candace, not Megan, not a single.
That's not true. You do hear it sometimes. It depends on the brand. You hear it sometimes.
No, you won't.
If you watch Theo Vaughn, you'll see like Reese's basically.
Theo Vaughn is the only. That's why, dude. Theo Vaughn is literally like makes $100 million a year of his podcast. I'm not kidding. He's one of the only. So that's why this is my point. True crime and comedy and all these things, you get to be right wing, or you get to like delve into these things. You don't have to talk politics. You don't have to be libtarded or anything. You get to do art, right? This is the whole thing. Like the right wing art, just do art, do your thing. They'll put money into that. Theo Vaughn can get those advertisers, and I'm sure those advertisers get shit now because Theo's a little bit more out. But you know, then you hear these stories from his PR people that get seated in the media, like, oh, Theo Vaughn said the dumbest thing you've ever heard in your life, that like all immigrants are the greatest. You know, it's like you hear those stories and you go, oh, but that's a signal to the advertisers. Oh, okay, we can safely park $1 million with Theo. We can safely park $1 million with so and so. Nobody on the right gets that. Even the biggest names, they don't get branding deals like that because they don't get to like. Almost every big advertiser says like no to any sort of programmatic and definitely direct advertising with any of those people. That's like a huge issue. That was a huge issue. Like even at iHeartRadio, when I worked at iHeartRadio, like a lot of them wouldn't, like you had a whole thing that was like, this advertiser will not do politics ever. Massive advertisers or even small, they just will never touch politics, left or right. Yeah. And so you're always fighting, but the left always has like the political. Yeah. So it's always, so if you can do content that's non-political, you're a winner. And so this is what, but here's, YouTube doesn't give a shit. That's why Candace is making all her money off YouTube. It's not off advertisers. She's making good money off her advertisers, probably making a few million that way, but YouTube is more than happy to pay you millions of dollars if you can keep people watching no matter what you're putting out there. They don't give a fuck. That's the beauty of the actual platform.
None of these people are making millions on YouTube.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, no, she's making probably $2 million. When she was at her peak, she's making $2 to $3 million a month off of YouTube.
Who was?
Candace Owens.
You're saying on just pure revenue split?
Yes.
Is that really true? I think it's like I think it's like if you get 1 million views, you get $1,000.
No, that's
Candace
everybody has different RPMs depending on what you're talking about. RPMs is revenue per million. Same thing. It's the opposite.
Okay.
But yeah, her revenue per million. I work with Larry. Has anybody here heard of Larry O? He's the morning show guy in DC, and he has a podcast at Town Hall Media. He makes, I think, $150K just off the YouTube money. Not off of direct ads sold into where he's doing like, hey, this is Joe Blow for. I'm talking like they pause his show or whatever and YouTube puts in a 20-minute or a 20-second ad or whatever. 100K, he makes 10K a month off of that, 15K.
Yeah, but but why is that so different from an ordinary person who gets 1 million views on their show and then they get $1,000? I've heard that that's the basic metric. So Candace couldn't have been getting that much more traffic than that. She was probably getting Was she even getting a mil? I mean, she wasn't that big.
Oh yeah, she was.
Why would she be making
Yeah,
$1
dude,
million a month?
She was
The
putting out
video- the
episodes
views
every
on her
2
shit is
days.
insane.
She was putting out
What?
episodes every 2 days and getting like 4 million views on every episode. Because she created a true crime conspiracy around Charlie Kirk's death. That's what it was.
Wow.
To the point where people like my wife were listening to that. So she expanded her audience so massively. Dude, if you get 4 million views on an episode on your show on YouTube, there's a really good chance you're gonna make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. The
Okay,
RPM
but exactly. But
all-
what you're saying doesn't add up at all, because you're saying, okay,
If she's
even if she
doing
was
that-
making 10, yeah, say she was making 10 grand a video, she's doing a
I'm gonna pull it
video,
up.
what, maybe 20 videos a week. That's 200 grand. That's not $1 million a month.
No, that's per episode. She's doing 5 episodes a week.
You just said she was doing an episode every 2 days. So
I
that's
mean,
like,
that would be $800,000 a month.
Yeah, and she was probably making more. So
Oh.
I'm gonna pull up what her shit was. I'm gonna show you.
say you're making, say you're, okay, if you're making $10,000 per episode, you're doing
perfect math.
You're doing 4 episodes a week. That's 40K a week times 4. That's 800,000. That's that's 240K a month. That's not $1 million, $2 million a month.
I'll show you real quick. Let's pull it up. Let's see what she's doing. Okay, because this is like an estimate, so we'll see where this fits in. We'll pull up Candace real quick. So she's 6.5 million. Blah blah blah.
She is
Okay.
hot,
Yeah, she is kind of hot. I will agree
pretty
that she's
hot.
like slightly hot.
but she's really
This
it's a
says
razor
her
sharp
yearly.
edge.
So this says her yearly estimated earnings between 160 and 2.6. My guess is
Yeah, so that's not per month, bro. This is exactly what I just
Well,
estimated.
no, this right here is her per month. So it's between 10
Yeah.
to 164.
Yeah,
That
so
is
that's
such a
exactly what I
retarded
just
range.
fucking said.
She's on the
That's-
way high end.
That's
of that
less
range.
than $1 million a year. Less than $1 million a year.
Dude, should we call
Yeah,
her?
she's
PR
probably
agent?
making like $1 million a year from, and again, this is just YouTube?
Yeah, that's just revenue or just YouTube. So this is her. So this is.
I think people make a lot less from YouTube than you think, dude.
Brother, I look at their accounts. I literally do this for a living. I'm telling you, these guys are making insane amounts of money just off the platform. That's why they don't need people like The Blaze or Daily Wire or any of those. That's why none of those people are getting good people except for The Blaze right now. Just got Josh Howerton. I'm a little jealous, but that's a whole different ballgame. Yeah.
Well,
I
that
don't
just
think-
said also with sponsorships, half a
no,
million.
no. I'm not talking on if her direct sales.
That whatever
Sponsorships?
was
I'm talking
just
about the platform.
said.
Yeah, the platform herself.
Yeah.
The platform is definitely paying her a few $1 million a year. I've talked to Benny Johnson. I think Benny Johnson makes $4 or $5 million a year off his just YouTube. That's insane money. That's legit. Fuck
That's
you
crazy.
money. That's fuck you money. And then if he works with somebody like Salem Media or Daily Wire or Daily Caller or not Daily Caller or The Blaze. Nobody really does advertising well on YouTube. Salem's actually done really well. They made, before Charlie was going to die, he was going to end up making $20 to $30 million from direct sales. And that is with nobody in the mainstream, although the mainstream was coming around on Charlie. The mainstream was really starting to come around where he was going to start getting deals from. And then you look at this is a perfect way to illustrate this. TBPN, they don't have a single YouTube video that has gotten more views than like Laura Trump. Like their YouTube's not big. Their live streams are not big. Like they actually, people just are sponsoring them because like they're buddies and they're doing like a tech podcast. Like,
So, but
that's a
why are they
complete
sponsored?
concept.
Like, why? I don't get the TBPN thing. Like, why would you sponsor a show that doesn't get any attention or views?
Because the small attention it gets is from the right names that you want. That's all it is. They've picked this technology niche where they're just going to talk about like a very specific thing that day that if 500 people, the right 500 people watch that, which is what they've built, the right 500 people watch it on X, that's worth more than 5 million people watching us talk about, dick jokes and fart jokes. So it's all about the niche. If you're doing a super small niche, so it's why like Caleb Hammer, you've seen all his stuff. You guys know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, people have talked to me about this, but I don't.
Vaguely, Isaac. See, the thing about Isaac is like, Isaac's two things. Isaac's like niche. He's like, I don't watch anything unless like it comes across my thing. But he also believes he has his finger on the pulse of everything at the same time. So he's like, he'll tell you something that got big 6 months ago, and you're like,
oh, that's
yeah,
so
Isaac.
true, dude.
Isaac. Everybody knows about this.
I actually do think Isaac has a good instinct for when something when it becomes gay.
Dude, by the way, by all means, if
when it becomes gay.
Yeah. Isaac can tell like
Isaac has good taste, but sometimes he's like, dude, have you heard about this thing that the kids are doing? I'm like, brother.
Have you heard of flash mobs?
Dude,
Yeah,
you guys are both so fucking wrong. I'm so far ahead of both of you by so fucking far.
No, but Caleb Hammer is somebody I was.
You
like,
guys never know what I'm talking about. I always am telling you guys something, and you're both like, "What? Oh, cool!" And then you like talk about it and make it your whole identity in the coming.
Please
months.
give me one example. Please,
you don't realize this at all, dude. That you guys.
This is
make it our whole identity,
dude. Everything we do.
That's Isaac. Isaac, while he's wearing the poncho.
Hestia cigarettes. Hestia cigarettes. There you go. I was up on that way before anybody else. Everything, dude. Right now, actually,
like that guy a lot. By the way,
actually, Mama, dude. Think about how ahead of the curve Mama has been. And suddenly, now everybody's talking about these DoorDash people in New York. We were way ahead on that. Yeah, that's sick.
Yep, sick.
We were way ahead on.
This is the best. This is the best.
Dude, Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt. When I started talking about Spencer Pratt, nobody knew who the fuck that was at all.
That's true.
See that's now actually perfect.
Dude,
example.
I was way ahead on Spencer Pratt.
No, he did. He was talking about him in like January.
No, you talked about him, but my
Dude,
wife was like,
I guarantee you, everything you know about Spencer Pratt came from me. I 100% guarantee.
No. First off, I'm an OG Spencer Pratt fan because I was
Spencer Pratt fan.
Because I was watching him when I was a baby, and I like his show, and I think he's a very smart guy. And now that I'm a Republican, I liked his politics before you even knew who he was.
No, so not true, bro. I was at his fundraiser before anybody.
You were at his fundraiser after everybody knew who he was.
No, dude. First of all, it took time to get on his fucking podcast, at his fucking fundraiser for one. But no, dude.
Barry Weiss thinks we're having the most Jewish convo in Mama history, which is funny.
I don't think you. What am I behind the curve on? Yeah, I am. Oh, here's what I'll give you. I am behind the curve for sure. I'm like lame conservative female influencers. Yeah, that is fucking true. I don't know who any of those people are. You're 100% right.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like, what else am I behind the curve on? I don't think I'm behind the curve. Really? What am I?
The gout.
What do you mean that like I'm on something?
He's ahead of the curve. Who's more ahead of the curve on gout?
I'm way ahead of the curve on gout. Dude, by the way, both you guys are totally.
And you're out here trying to like stand that it's like a big thing now.
Gout?
You're like, no, dude, everybody's got gout. And I'm like, brother, when you mentioned the gout, I had to look it up in a textbook.
Dude, there's literally a
New York ahead of the curve.
I will show you
a King's disease from the 1600s.
Bro, there is a New York Times article that is literally saying, why does everyone have gout now?
Your Jew faggot ass probably seeded that whole entire article.
That's what I'm saying.
You probably were like, hey, by the way, you typed in
that is literally the most Jewish convo of all time to have a health issue and be like, I was way ahead of the curve on this. Everyone's just copying me having this health issue.
Isaac pops into the giant Mossad Jew group chat that you guys all have with everybody from like, it's like Josh Hammer and Mark Levin and James Lindsay's in there, like everybody's in the giant Jewish Mossad conspiracy group chat you're in, you were like, guys, I have the gout. Do you guys have that? And they all were like, no, but we will support you, which is great. That's what the Jews do. So everybody, there's like,
they were like, oh, gout scheduled for summer. We're rolling out gout big time over summer.
Gout summer.
They're like, Isaac, you're really early on the gout thing. You probably have legit gout. You should get that checked out. That's why he keeps going to the doctor, even though he doesn't believe in the doctor. It's because like the actual Jewish doctors are like, yeah, no, that's real. Your shit's fucked up.
Dude, I'm so ahead of cultural shit way more than both of you guys. I don't even know that something is a trend. It just seems normal to me. Like about Kratom the other day, where I thought Kratom was just everyone's doing Kratom. Grandmas, moms, kids.
Yeah.
And I find out it's
12.
super niche.
Wait a second. So hold on. First of all, two things. One, if you guys want to post about something new and cool, by all means, you have the fucking opportunity to do so.
You know what? You're right. We need to shut this down. We're making
something.
Right. Isaac's upset now.
I'm not upset. I'm not upset. But Denzel, what was I so late on that was fake and gay? You got to tell me.
I was defending you, dude. I was saying
no. You said I wait until it's gay and then I'm into it.
No. My point was, right when something has become gay.
Oh yeah, so
true.
That was exactly right. No, it's fine. I'm no, dude. You guys should give me shit, man. It's true. Dude, we gotta get some more hits. We gotta get some more mama hits.
That's the other. Oh, dude.
It'll happen.
When Isaac says traffic,
it always does.
When he's talking about his Twitter account, I actually do have like a bit of a holy shit, dude. This guy is 97 years old. I'm not getting any traffic.
When I say
Twitter account,
you're not. You're not supposed to say traffic. What do you say?
Nigga, it ain't traffic,
engagement,
bro. Yeah, just say engagement. Sound like you're a
no. Actually, that sounds gayer. Engagement sounds more gay.
It does sound gayer, but it sounds antiquated when you're like, my traffic is down. Yeah. My traffic, because it's very
traffic.
My web hits are down.
It's the goy. It's just goy. Engagement sounds good. Engagement is not a goy term.
Engagement is
goys get traffic.
Gay
Jews get fucking engagement.
Other way around. The goys get engagement. The Jews get traffic. That's the way it's supposed to work, I think. Yeah, you guys are. When he says that, I'm like, those massage chats are just getting
traffic.
He's getting blown up by like a 75-year-old Mossad agent. Is like, hey,
we need more traffic. We need the traffic.
I'm paying you all this money for your Twitter account. You're getting no traffic. What is it? Who's that fat faggot you have over there working for you?
He's not helping me with the traffic.
He's not helping you at all. And then they start bitching at me. And I'm like, nigga, he doesn't know what that word, that's a word that doesn't mean anything on this platform. We can't do traffic. It's engagement. Okay? I can't make the goys engage.
Dude, engagement is a way
with the 14th circumcision article that we're going to put out on Mama Magazine. Okay.
Wait, so why do you think? Well, yeah, what?
This dude, Steve Skojek, just said, laughed out gold shit on the show today, laughed out loud about Isaac knowing right when things get gay.
He somehow likes things right when they're gay.
It's so true.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, I am getting old, man. This is why we need younger people to be contributing to things.
You're getting old. I'm getting old, but fuck.
Yeah. You're not at that. You're 37?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right at the precipice of. This was the year I got old, and I could literally fucking feel it. You could feel.
Your kid is. How old's your youngest? 2. Yeah, my youngest is now 6 months. So
yeah, so you're gonna be in my exact shoes in like 2 years.
Yeah.
So
this was definitely.
You understand that like we're gonna have a lot of issues doing good business at that point. We're gonna be the old Jews, even though I'm not Jewish. But I kind of
doing good business. What do you mean?
We gotta find like a couple 22-year-old
young people.
chicks.
Yeah, well, that's what Denzel is supposed to be. Denzel's supposed to be our young guy.
Well, he was supposed to bring those girls in, but he can't stop banging them and yelling at them.
No, we don't need any young girls. We don't need any young girls. We don't need any Candace Owenses. That's what we definitely
young
don't
girl
need.
to be.
We need a
like,
black woman
isolated.
at Mama. If we
Yeah,
had a
we need a
strong
black
black female
mama.
presence at
Need a
Mama,
black.
She has to be hot, and she has to literally not be involved with anything we do. She just does outbound sales.
No, I don't think we need any of that, man. I think, bro, like I really
we should
think
pay young women to bang the people we
No,
love.
dude, as soon as we start doing that, we are exactly as bad as everybody else. As soon as we start hiring young black chicks because they're young black chicks, the project is fucking lost. We got to just stick with the fucking plan. It's totally going to work. Like there is no mentality.
I think we should hire black chicks because they're genuinely better employees than white male men. That's why I think
that's
we
true.
You've already had this.
That is fucking.
I'm not saying we should
just
hire
hire
any kind of
Valentina?
affirmative action nonsense at all.
Ray Valentina, the groiper, the black groiper.
Dude, people are mad about midweek mid, bro. Let me just say this one thing before we go. I got feedback from two different people, and it was really funny because they're two polar opposite people. One was a guy who is a Christian, and one was a girl who was like the opposite of that. And the guy was like, "Yeah, sorry, I subscribed, but I had to unfollow you because of midweek mid." And then the girl said the exact same thing. She was like, "Yeah, what you're doing is really cool, but I couldn't do it because of midweek mid." Because she was like, "It's degrading. It's degrading to the girl. It's disgusting. You're asking them these questions. They're embarrassing themselves. They're calling themselves a mid. It infuriates women.
This could not be a better. This could not be a better endorsement of what Mama is here to do. Is you're caught between the feminized world saying you can't ever say a woman is mid or make fun of her, say what drug are you going to OD on or whatever, and you're caught between that and the right, which is a bunch of dudes telling guys, deny yourself, do a bunch of push-ups, never jack off.
Well, it's also just like, these guys, what is the difference between showing a mid and showing any girl in like any magazine that exists? Why is that somehow worse? It's like you would follow like fucking Pogue magazine. Like, wait, it's like, what?
The midweek mid, she's like the most hot, beautiful thing.
Then it would be fine. Yeah, right. Yeah, it would be fine if we were like midweek beauty.
This is inside baseball. This
midweek
is the most
has a beautiful.
The most important thing is that when one person gives you feedback, that doesn't matter.
No, I know, bro. I'm just saying. I'm not saying we should listen. I'm just saying.
Anytime one person reaches out, unless 1,000 people reach out, the moment that we put some shit out that 1,000 people inundate us with nonsense in feedback, until that day, we are irrelevant and should kill ourselves. The moment,
but it is true that
cause. No, dude, I don't care about what Denzel, your faggot friends think. I don't care what Isaac's faggot friends think. I don't care what my faggot friends think. I don't have any friends. None of my friends are faggots. They're all cool. They're like really cool, like really good people. I don't care what they think. Your friends are all gay and fake. You live in California and New York. I live in a based, southern, culturally very...
Dude, again, I'm literally from Dixie. I'm from the South, so I don't know why you're giving me this.
No, I'm joking, but honestly, like every time I hear like this person said this, I go, until I hear overwhelming feedback, none of this matters to me. I actually think it's all noise and it's bad.
Well, I do think it's true, and I
know
like
what the comments say. I don't want to know what like one guy. If it's positive, that's awesome, but.
It's definitely funny that the midweek mid in particular is completely one-shots everybody. Like everyone is mad for
I actually
some
think
reason
that,
about the
and I'm
mid.
anti-midweek mid.
That's why it's good.
I actually agree with you. Like the fact that there's any feedback on that is actually maybe a good signgle. That's actually a signal that
people lose their minds. People send us messages like, "What is this for? What does this mean?
Yeah.
Is she supposed to be actually mid because she's actually too hot?" They'll complain the girls are too hot.
That's the
or
best.
If the girls are not hot enough, they go, she's not hot. Why was she not hot? I thought they were supposed to be hot. How is this furthering the conservative? How is this going to help us in the midterms? How does this even relate to the midterms? People lose their minds about it.
It is true, man. People are literally on Twitter because they think they're political activists, and then you present them with like the slightest idea of whimsy.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, just like, what if we just were like, we laughed about this like kind of mid chick and a couple things she said, or hot chick or ugly chick. And they're just like, are you guys Jewish? Because I don't know what to think about this. Therefore, you must be Jewing me right now. Because nobody, if you were a good Christian man, I would know exactly how to feel about this exact moment in my life, but I don't know how to feel. This must be a Jewish conspiracy in my life. That's the shit that, like, dude, I want to be an anti-Semite so deep in myself. I think I'm doing the same thing I'm going through the same bout that Nick Fuentes is going through. It's like I've been on Twitter too long where I'm like, oh, wait, every time I see somebody that says something anti-Semitic, they're like, you have a Dan Bilzerian, Jake Shields level of IQ. And I'm realizing that, like, I cannot believe I'm actually interacting with somebody as fucking retarded as you. Like, dude, I'm more than happy to hate on the Jews, but holy shit, dude, like, you being confused about our midweek mid is not a Jewish conspiracy. You are just a faggot and you should kill yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What does this mean?
I love this YouTube comment from what, maybe 12 years ago. Maybe this guy's just now watching. Oh yeah. The right will win by starting small companies and fighting regulatory structures. Like what? Guy, here, let me hear you out. Yeah, McFly. Chicken fish hybrid 44. Yes, that is actually the right. And by the way, the right winning shouldn't be actually maybe be the solution. The solution should be, what is the best thing for America? The right winning right now in 2026 is probably what's best for America as far as we know. But in 15, 20, 30 years, I don't know what that means. But we definitely want dudes to be able to start fucking cigarette companies easily, right? I think if you're a human being that lives in America and you somewhat believe in capitalism, or at least, like, I don't know, manifest destiny or just like freedom, we should all want to live in a country where there is somebody like that fucking dude, David Sley, who is willing to eat shit every day to fight that battle for us. And I agree with you, Isaac. There is nobody else doing that. That's like, I mean, that is like legit yeoman's work to eat shit every day from regulatory bodies, manufacturing bodies, state level nonsense. Like, he is eating shit every day, not because he wants to be a cool guy with a cigarette company, because he literally met a bunch of tobacco farmers and was like, yeah, no, I fucking love cigarettes. I love tobacco, and like, fuck yeah, let's bring this back. And he has a life mission. You niggas need a life mission. That's what you need. Twitter is not your life mission. Bringing about Hitler is not a life mission. You can't do that on Twitter, brother. Like, and I'm not, I don't know. I know I'm
No, Harrison, that was good. I like
drunk
that.
And not smoking weed,
speech.
but this is bad. Like, y'all need to stop being faggots on the internet. It's meaningless and it's a waste of time. What we're doing is meaningless and a waste of time. But what we're trying to also do, I think, at the same time, is be like, yo, I want to. Those are good people. Those are good people. Those are good people. Like, we're trying to tell the good stories. We're trying to, I think, elevate.
What we're doing.
We're trying to get you guys paid, dude. I have spent years now
too.
talking
no,
to
niggas don't want to get paid.
Talking to these bitchless, moneyless chuds who are writing their self-published novels on KDP. I've read their novels. They've read my, all I've ever heard from these guys is, if only we had a patronage network where writers could get paid. If only we could get paid to write. If only somebody could figure something like that out. And then now I go to these guys with offers. I'm like, we're paying as much as Vice.
And we're paying a lot, by the way. We're paying the same amount. We're paying the same amount as any publication. Any big
more
publication.
than everybody actually pays, actually.
Yeah,
and
we're paying
can
more.
I tell you a funny story?
And they don't write shit.
I'm not gonna drop the
hold
name.
on. Never give. This is what I have realized in running this company. Never give a man.
Can you just sit up so your face is in the middle of the camera?
Never give a man what he says he wants. He will never forgive you.
Agree.
If you give a man what he thinks he wants in his mind, he will never forgive you for giving it to him, because it'll
100%.
put him on the thing, and then he'll be like, oh fuck, I actually have to do what I said I was gonna do.
This is why I always fight
and then
with
he'll
Isaac
freak out,
about,
or at
this is
least
why I
9
always
out of
fight-
10. 9
yeah.
out of 10 men then flip out
I agree
because
with you.
they
That's why
can't handle. They
Dude,
can't
that's
handle
a-
the heat.
That's
No,
kind of
this
a
is so
amazing.
true. This is
insight.
why I always argue with Isaac to pay me more money, but I never really make him do it, because then he'll give me what I want, and then I won't work as hard. I won't do anything.
Well, it's really true that they will never. They will hold you personally responsible.
Yeah,
for
they'll be
Yes,
mad
for their
at you.
failures.
That,
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
like you made me fail.
It's so
Because-
dude.
Yeah.
Okay. This is
It'll be
somebody
like,
we
oh,
all
you
know.
set me up for failure, and it'll be like, no, I paid you to do something creative, and you didn't fucking show
that
up.
you've
Sorry.
always wanted to do.
Yeah,
This is
like,
somebody we
sorry,
all
buddy.
know. This is somebody you all know, and this is a very. I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you who it is off the offline. He's basically he like texted another group chat that I'm in, basically like, yeah, I've already planned my suicide for like Monday of next week or whatever. And we're like, oh, why? He's like, oh, I just have no money, blah blah blah. And we're like, well, a lot of people are offering to pay you money to write for them, and you're like, oh, well, that one thing was like just too cringe. And I'm like, so
Damn.
you're gonna kill yourself because
Yeah.
Mama the magazine is cringe?
Dude, what's that
So
saying?
you're
It's like, don't,
actually like when he said, I literally was like, I kind of respect that level of like self-respect, I guess, but also like, you actually probably should kill yourself because you're such a faggot.
dude,
You're
that guy
not-
heard
you're
the
faking it.
saying. He heard the saying, don't kill the thing that makes you cringe, kill the part of you that cringes. And he decided to kill himself so that he doesn't cringe.
Yeah.
It's
I obviously
I-
know who you're talking about because
Yeah.
only one person we know
Of
would do
course.
this. But yeah,
and I was so blown away. I was like, dude, like I literally I can go in my phone book right now and text maybe 15 people I know that would love to pay you, nominal amounts of
yeah,
money.
to do something.
It
but
doesn't
you're not
even need
gonna
to be a
fucking
lot,
do
but
it.
it left and he was just like, oh, it's a little cringe. I'm like, oh, okay, so you're either a faggot who's not going to kill themselves ever, you just want to be a bitch forever, or, and it's like, it's
Yeah,
something
this is
cringe,
what
like,
people do. They come work for me. I'm thinking of another guy we both know. They come work here, and I'm like, do whatever you want. We will pay you money to do anything. Come
Right.
up with any video, any
Nah.
fucking idea, any article, anything you want to do. Go do it. And then they'll be like, oh, this is cringe, man. This is cringe. I'm like, how's it cringe? It's your destiny, bro. Like I'm giving you
dude,
money to do
yeah.
whatever you want. And then they're like, no,
Yeah.
man, it's fucking cringe, man. It's
And I'm
fucking
really
cringe.
glad I met
And I'm
somebody
like, what?
Isaac. Like, Isaac is a fucking hustler, and fucking nobody hustles harder than Isaac. Denzel, I don't, whatever.
This
You're
is turning
cool,
into-
whatever.
this is
You're
turning
kind of cool.
gay.
No. I'm not trying to be gay, but it's like, dude, that is a massive issue on the right. It's like they actually believe they're the entitlement. And dude, I don't want to sound like one of these like, go eat your $20 burrito or like make your burrito at home. That's not what I'm not making that argument. I'm like, dude, there is plenty of opportunity on the right. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of those guys don't want to write checks or anything. I get it. Whatever. You don't have to work for the right either. Like, dude, if you have a fucking pulse, dude, you can get a 6-figure job in this country somehow. Like, if you really want to, if you want to figure it out, and that's not like a 6-figure job is not even like, I don't know. I think it'll make you like a lot of money, but I'm just saying, like, you can go get $90,000, $100,000, $100,000 a year doing something. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine. I get it. There's a lot of shitty jobs out there, but I hate the right should not be a home of hopelessness and retardation and faggotry. And that's the shit that like really freaks me out. I think with a lot of this like new Zoomer class, and I don't even think it's actually Zoomers. I think it's actually like, I think it's a young millennials more than anything. I think the Zoomers for the most part are like, fuck it, I'll just figure it out. But dude, I even met a dude in person that we all know. Like I met him in Tennessee, and he was just like bitching. The dude's like a welder. He like makes like 80, 90K a year, right? Like whatever you think about that, that's fine. But he was just like, oh, I don't know, man. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he's like, I live at home, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so what are you going to do about that? What do you like? Do you think that like interacting with people on the internet should change your lot in life by accident? Or for sure, interacting with people on the internet changed my life, but it was because I was like proactive enough to try and go add value to a situation. People just want to be like, I need a lot of money to write what I want to write. Like, nigga, that's not how capitalism works. Do you believe in capitalism?
Well, it's totally fake. It's
like I just want to complain all the time and write poetry.
Well, I think that's the insight that Isaac's saying is like, you really don't actually want to do that. Like, there's a lot of people I see, and this happens especially with writers, possibly more than any other like profession, where you decide that you're a writer because it's costs nothing. It's completely easy to decide that you're a writer. Like, you don't have to go to school for it. There's no qualification. And you can just convince yourself that that's who you are and that's part of your identity. Like, I see this all the time with writers where they talk about having writer's block. Like, I'm in group chats with writers or I'm talking with other writers and they're saying, oh, I have writer's block. Like, I'm trying so hard, but I just can't like write right now. I'm not like inspired, like whatever. And it's like, why would you write if you have writer's block? Like, why do you feel the need to make belabored, difficult, forced like content that we're going to have to read? Like, why are you going to belabor yourself to make something you don't want to make that other people don't want to read, other than that you've convinced yourself that you are a writer and you have to maintain this identity? So then you give somebody what they want. You're like, all right, here you go. We'll pay you $500 to do a mama article. And it's like, now you're responsible for making them grapple with the fact that they don't actually want that and aren't capable of it.
Yeah. It's just people aren't good with pressure. I think that's what it is. You know, when you give them too blank a slate, then they can't say to themselves, oh, well, I'm being made to do this. And they can't say to themselves, they really hate it being on them. You know, people get really, really uncomfortable when you go, okay, you want to make something not cringe. You want to make something. You want to make something not cringe. Fucking make it. Go make it. And then they can't. They don't want to do that because then they're like, well, then I can't call other things cringe.
And it's beautiful, and I mean that in sort of like a ironic way, but it's like, yeah, the right has always losers, and there always get to be this sort of like, we're the dissidents, and like the things we believe are like very different and like unacceptable. And so then people find that and they go and they latch onto that, even though they're not actually right wing. They don't have any real political ideology. What they have, and that exists on the left too, but for whatever reason, that doesn't appeal to them, sort of like the leftist version of loserdom, because like there's too much activism involved. And you can be sort of like a right-wing misanthrope and nobody's expecting you to be an activist. So you get to just be like, yeah, I kind of hate everybody. And like, I'm going to write this thing. I'm going to do this thing. But like, I'm never going to do anything that's they're not entrepreneurial. They're not risk takers. They're not like, and they just complain. There's just, and I think this is everything. Yeah, Barry Weiss is right. It's like masters of starting everything and not finishing. Listen, I'm one of these people too. I'm not like actually necessarily like shitting on these people. There's a lot that I feel within that as well. But I do think there is and this is why, and I hate this about right-wing media, or at least Twitter. Because then you see the pictures of right-wingers trying to do something. And you know what sucks is like a lot of times it's like a fat, ugly guy. And it's a fat, ugly chick. And then everybody goes, ugh, this is the right way. Oh my God. It's like, nigga, like you are a fucking loser in every aspect of your fucking life. Yeah. And you're shitting on this person that's trying to do something. And actually, a lot of times you're talking them out of it. Like a lot of those people that go, actually, like, why would I ever do this?
Yeah, dude. I've never met people that are so. It's also funny because now the left has totally picked up the mantle of like coolness so obviously, and they've done it in part because they're like
they don't shit on their biggest
they're
faggot.
like the right was ascendant for sure because they picked up the mantle of like being hot, right? And they were like, we're the only ones that are allowed to be hot. And like we don't care. And that worked for like 5 years. But now the right is totally losing it. And now it's like you see people talking like, you know, talking shit about God, like you see these like Indian ass Instagram posts that are like, the right wing is the new punk rock. Right wing people are more hot. They care about beauty. Or this fucking statue, this LARP ass fucking statue. And it's just like, oh no. It like we really did have it for about 5 seconds and now it's just fucking done.
And like 5 seconds. But it's also
and the
like
left now.
We have the left's gatekeepers were built like.
Well, the left is just like winning
ago.
So hard now because they figured out their whole new Mamdani ass thing, which is like
what that's what I'm saying is like they have what's his head the fuck who's the one everybody hates that Hassan Mamdani not Mamdani Hassan
B.
So you have Hassan Bibi, whatever, and he, you know, everybody on the right is like, we need to. They're tweeting him every day. They're the best.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable.
He's like Nick
just
Fuentes
every
5
second,
years
and it's
ago.
like him in like a cool outfit, and they're like, "This is not a cool outfit that this cool, handsome guy is wearing. He is not handsome at all. This is ridiculous."
It's what they were doing to Nick Fuentes over the past 5 years. But here's what's the funniest part: Nick Fuentes, all his haters were on the right. Like nobody ever. There's no like big campaign on the left to shut down Nick Fuentes. Never has been. That's the craziest thing. Like you tell a leftist you're a fan of Nick Fuentes, they go, he's essentially part of their game because
100%.
All of us. He thinks
dude, if you watch, that's why like Andrew Callahan will do an interview with Nick Fuentes where at one point in the interview, Hunter Biden is attacking Nick Fuentes for hating black people, and Andrew Callahan intervenes to tell Hunter Biden, hey man, let's not make this about attacking Nick. Like, let's not go at Nick too hard. Like, that's my boy right here.
No, and Andrew Callahan's a faggot, but yes, you're right.
Well, but he's a leftist to your point. He's a leftist who doesn't see Nick Fuentes as a threat to his shit at all.
Right. Because the game is not black and white on the like the things that Nick Nick is trying, and he's very open about this at this point. He's said it. He's like, dude, he's trying to normalize himself. I think he's way more normie. Like, dude, Dan Bilzerian and all these other fucking faggots on the right now. Like these people that are Jake Shields the fact that he has an audience at all, the fact that somebody like Dan Bilzerian, I don't think they have an audience. I don't think they do. I think it's
dude. Anti-Semitism is massive now, though. Dude. Anti-Semitism,
anti-Semitism
fucking sells.
I believe it is peaked. Personally, I know that. I also think that, and this is something I don't think anybody is really, truly diagnosed and then figured out a solution for. Twitter is probably 10 times more racist than, or I'm sorry. Instagram is 10 times more racist than Twitter is right now.
And way funnier, dude. So much funnier.
It's
if you want to really laugh, you can't really scroll Twitter anymore. Like if you scroll Twitter, you're going to just be depressed and grossed out. Whereas like if I'm like hungover as fuck, like when I was just sick yesterday, all I did is just sit there and like just scroll reels and just die laughing for like an hour.
Yes.
It's so fucking funny.
It's not contrived.
And way more anti-Semitic. Like way more racist and anti-Semitic than Twitter.
But almost in like a funny, jovial way. That's actually kind of the
in
more
like actual comedy
part of it. Yeah, it's not a non-racism or anti-Semitism. It's like you'll get Joel Feinstein's top, at the top comment will be like, wow, that's very Jewish. It's like people actually just interacting with humor again, like we didn't do for the past 10 years. And like, everybody's like, no, we're on Twitter. I only look at what's on Twitter. And you're
look, we had it for a while.
I know, but
we had our time. We had
know,
our
but
time,
no.
and now it's like just fucking over.
No,
Basically.
our time is still happening. That's my point. It's just
Well, the time of Mama
baby
Magazine is
platform.
definitely going to happen because there is always going to be a market for male perspectives, always, and nobody's doing
100%.
it. Nobody's
kind
doing
of like that was the point I was making before. It's like guy talk used to just be guy talk. Used to be Opie and Anthony and Howard Stern and
well, that's what Mama is.
Area.
That's what.
And
Mama
now it's like we're bringing that back, but it's like that's okay. Everybody is okay with that.
Yeah,
and that's what I feel like Instagram is now, which is funny. But if you explain that to like, a Twitter user who feels like whose entire self-worth is wrapped up in what is going on X, he'll be like, no, those guys are just like blah, blah, blah. They don't understand. Blah, blah. You're like, dude, you're out of time. Like Twitter has literally, X is interesting. And here's interesting. Steve Sojak, who's been hanging out with us today.
All right, we gotta before Harrison gets too drunk here. We gotta pull the.
I'm too drunk. I'm already
pull the plug on this,
dude. I liked Harrison's inspirational speeches on this.
Yeah, same.
Learn a skill. Hitler's not coming back.
Dude, Hitler's not coming to save you, buddy.
Hold on. I will go on one more diatribe. I am the baby of three. I am the dumbest of three kids. I don't think IQ wise, I think we're probably in the same range. But my oldest brother got into computer. My brother's 46. He's literally 10 years older than me. I'm 47. I'm 37. He's 47. My brother is a computer genius. He was like one of the first people to ever, like at a young age, was like working.
My brother's a computer genius.
Computer genius.
My brother's a computer genius. What can I say?
And then my middle brother is like dumber than both of us, I think, but he's like good at shit. He's like even better. He's like more conscientious. My oldest brother's a psychopath, kind of like me, but my middle brother's more conscientious. So he's even more, he makes crazy money doing software for the government. My other brother worked for the government, right? Like, and my parents told me, I didn't know. My parents told me I was going to be homeless unless I could get a security clearance. That's what my parents told me. My parents didn't know any better. My parents didn't go to college. My mom went to college later in life. My dad has a high school degree. And I figured shit out, right? Because I'm not a faggot. And my parents, my family raised me in a way that like, hey, have this little ambition in your life and like get your shit together. And I've fucked up every opportunity in my life, dude. I literally you cannot make more mistakes than me in my life. No joke.
True.
And I talk to people every single day of my life that ask me career advice and shit like that. I'm like, oh, do this. And then I check in. I always check in on people that I ever do that. They don't do anything. So I just agree with Denzel. Like, and this is an issue, maybe just Grant's is broader conversation, but like X is filled with fucking losers. Really a lot of losers. A lot of people that will never take responsibility for their life, will blame, nigs and Jews for everything wrong with their life. And it just feels better. And I get it, whatever. I get it. But I don't understand that ideology. So it's hard for me to like, and I'm as racist as you can get. I'm as anti-Semitic as you can get. I hate Isaac. I hate Isaac more than I hate Denzel more than Isaac just because he looks more Jewish. But I hate these people deep in my soul. I hate them, right? But what I'm saying
hate them. All right. We'll too much Maker's Mark for old.
Oh, James is here. Oh, dude, let's do another hour, James.
No,
right now.
dude,
let's go.
He's
let's
watching.
Go.
Who's Dave? Oh, Dave Sley. Is he talking
Dave Sley from OG. Dave Sley. James Slay's got. Dude, let's just do another hour, James Pogue. Right now,
yeah, dude,
you won't
get
do
Pogue
it.
on
You
here.
won't do it, Isaac. Right now, you won't do it right now.
You can do it. You gotta probably.
No, you're not leaving.
Do some. I don't know if James is gonna hop back on, but maybe he could.
James will.
Let's just ask Pogue the same questions we asked him on the
We
last
should
one.
literally just do like Mom of the Magazine James Pogue hour every. We should pay Pogue to do an hour every, or 30 minutes. 30 minutes every week, I think. He's so good, dude. That was probably, we got a lot of feedback on that too. Everybody was like, dude, because what's beautiful about Pogue is like, I asked one of the dumbest questions ever, and he's like, I'm gonna side skirt that and then just talk about America. And then he just like went into his own. He just like went into his own. Look at that. Look at that. All right. I mean, we got to do it.
Damn.
Okay. All right, we got to do it.
We got to do it.
Oh, back for round 2.
Let's go.
Isaac's
but no nerd shit this time.
Isaac, did you take Adderall today?
No, dude. I
think Isaac just wants to go jerk off real quick.
I'm off the Adderall, man.
You're off it? That's so
bad. No,
Adderall's
bad.
Right,
Adderall's bad.
No, I know it's bad. All right, I sent you the link. So send it to Pogue. See if he'll pop in. He said, is there anyone on the show named Dave? Yeah, there was earlier, Steve. That was the Hestia guy. Dave Sley, right? Or was it Steve Sley? Was it Dave Sley?
Oh, man. Speaking of Adderall, you need to go do some Adderall before you fall on the floor right now, bro. Don't embarrass us in front of James Pogue.
No, I won't talk. I'll stop talking immediately right now.
Hitler's not coming back, man. That's the message from the episode.
Look at Steve.
Hitler ain't coming to save you.
I'm also getting it. Look, Steve Skojek. Hey, Steve, you want to write us a $50,000 check by any chance? Are you rich?
Dude, Steve's a big. I'm on his Twitter. He's a big writer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Steve. Let's get Steve next episode.
Steve.
Yeah, Steve. We need you to write for us, and we need you to be on the next episode.
And we need $300,000 direct.
And we need a $300,000.
Yeah, if you want to write. Check. He's poor.
Never mind. No,
me too.
Kidding. No, you should definitely write for us, Steve.
No, but Steve, I love that you are into the vibe. So, all right, dude, somebody send.
I did. I sent it. I texted.
All right, dude, because you know it's gonna be good, and we don't have to talk so much. Yeah, Pogue is me if I was not severely retarded. He's like
weight wise, you're at least 3 of Pogue, possibly 4 of him.
If I was both svelte and very
smart,
I would be like Pogue. That's
and
why
better
Pogue
impulse control.
Maybe we get along. We need a clean mill. Yeah.
We do.
Steve, can you go ahead? Steve says he's in. He said 1 million. He's in. Steve is in for $1 million.
Steve, that's legally binding, dude.
That's legally bound.
We sent you the link.
Yeah, Pogue. He just said, yeah, do that. He said that he would.
He said he was.
If he doesn't show up, you guys go find James Pogue on Twitter and then just say horrible things to him. Say horrible things on Twitter to him. But I think here's the thing is like, yeah, man, I do feel like I'm doing like a get off my lawn sort of thing, but like Isaac and Denzel, I don't know.
Oh, wait. Okay.
Denzel,
I can email it. Let me email it.
He said 1 sec.
I sent it to his text, not his.
He said, sorry, didn't go to my laptop 1 sec. Could you imagine you're James Pogue, the greatest writer in American history, and you're just like going back and forth,
trying to work on
perhaps the biggest retards in American history. But yeah, I don't know, man. And to be fair, though, I'll give the fairness. Like on the right side, I also at the same time run into like Dave Slays. It's like one or the other. There's not a lot of like middling people, I think, that are more right wing because for the most part, they've kind of been pushed out of whatever middling career they were going to have. They're either fully like borderline homeless or they're fully like, I'm a fucking multi-millionaire and like I want to try to figure this out.
Dude, that's a really good insight. That like if you're right wing, you're either right wing because you are such a successful alpha beast that you dominate everybody and you don't want to pay more taxes, or you're right wing because you're such a fucking loser of a white guy that you need some way to explain why you suck and have no prospects. You know?
Well, yeah, and don't get me wrong, and there's plenty of that are like, hey, I'm a loser and I don't know what to do, and so I want to associate myself with these people. And those are the ones you want, right? You want the people that are like, I want to use the talents that God gave me to not further gay race communism. And then you have like the dudes that are like, wait, there's no HR for me to complain to. And you're like, oh, you just don't get it yet. Like, you actually have to understand that, like, we're going to call you a faggot until you make something that we like.
Yeah.
Or build a website.
Build a website.
Maybe those people don't really, I don't know.
Hitler's not coming to save you. Vibe code a fucking website.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if you're always dabbling, it's also a career thing, or the world you're in. Yeah, if you always want to be a writer, you're going to have a different experience. But like, I don't know, all the marketing guys I'm friends with, it's like, it's very hard for them to come around to being like on point with what we're talking about, because they have pretty good lives without doing that. James Pogue.
What up?
You're a real host.
Dude, wait, James, I need you now that
James
you're here
Pogue.
to one, not listen to Harrison because he's really hammered. But number two, dude, can you explain what you were explaining? So many people have been
No,
asking
dude,
me
let's
this.
talk about something else.
No, just really quick. Just
fast.
it'll be a segue. It's a segue. Like last week, you were sort of explaining why, like, the mentality of what happened to Tucker and the mentality of like somebody like Andrew Callahan, right?
Wait, hold on. I'm about to ruin the whole podcast.
Okay. ruin the whole
I just
podcast.
realized I had you playing on Safari and Chrome, so it was making crazy sounds.
No, you're good.
You're good. Take your time.
Okay, can I explain?
Yes, explain anything. Explain anything you want.
All right, I'm gonna explain it. I'm gonna explain it really easily. Okay. The system we live in, like the dystopian hellhole that we all live in, but like we're like, oh, this is like really nice. Like, I have a screen. Like, you can buy all this stuff, but like everything sucks, and like it's really confusing, right? And everyone spends their entire life on podcasts like this going like, everything sucks, but like I have all this stuff, and so you're mad, but then the Wall Street Journal tells you not to be mad, right? That's the great mystery of the society. And Trump was supposed to fix it, and Trump could have fixed it, but he decided not to. And he kind of couldn't fix it, because here's the issue. The world we live in is shaped by an agreement essentially known as Bretton Woods, negotiated like all monetary agreements, like everything that decides everything about everyone's life was negotiated at a resort. That's where the stuff gets negotiated. There's not really that much democracy. And at Bretton Woods, the fundamental deal was America keeps the world safe so that you can do the global trade stuff. And in exchange, everyone else uses dollars. Mm-hmm. And everyone agreed to do that, with the exception of the East Bloc. But even the East Bloc, after a while, was like, well, whatever, leave that aside. But even the East Bloc, like, actually kind of like turbocharged the system, because every time you guys have ever heard like the concept of Eurodollars, the Eurodollar market that created the dollar system as we know it post 1970 was basically like Soviet capital being like laundered through European banks, because everyone uses the dollar. And so the trick with all of this is that by the time you get to like today, where everything is like a 10,000 item input on like just-in-time global supply chains, all of that is predicated on US military power securing global supply chains. Because if anything goes wrong at all, even a little bit, the world ends. Mm-hmm. Which is why, like, last time I was talking about like mid-range, like geopolitical, like analysts are like, well, like 5 to 10 years, like global famine, new dark ages. It's because if one little thing ever slips, like everything could go wrong, right? And we've lived in this, like, part of the reason that they keep like the whole prison hell thing that we live in going is because like the Matt Iglesias of the world, like, don't really like understand this stuff that well, but they actually do correctly understand that nothing can ever stop. Like populations can't stop growing. We can't have a recession. Like,
you called it hacky sack, the hacky sack economy. And I think that's a very deft description.
And so like now, once you've like layered so much into this non-resilient and hyper complex system, like it was true by the time we got to the 1990s, where it was like, if growth stops, like everything will go crazy. And for the purposes of like your average dude, like in suburban Dallas, who just wants to know how this affects him, point one is like, well, if anything goes wrong, like you could have a famine and now your air conditioning in Dallas doesn't work. And so your family's going to die. But leaving that part aside, the way it works is that basically after 1973, okay, I'm going to explain this. I'm just going to explain this. This is easy. This is super fucking easy, honestly. If you can't follow
gold
this,
standard? Are we doing gold standard?
Well, yeah, okay. Let's just explain this so that people can fucking follow it, and it's not complicated. So until 1973 or early 70s, whatever, there wasn't just like one date. But under Bretton Woods, there was capital controls and there was a gold standard. So the United States, in order to hold the gold that becomes the liquidity, the dollar-based stuff in the system, just make it super simple. Right. The gold reflects productive capacity and the ability of the United States to competitively sell stuff in the world. And for a long time, the United States had basically been applying a gold standard throughout the world because we are the industrial superpower. And Britain had been this kind of residual financial, whatever, it doesn't matter. We had all the gold for a long time. This was kind of true already. This formalized the system, but that reflected dynamism. Like you have your gold reserves because you sell more stuff than other people, or because people want your currency because they want to buy into your economy. That's how you get fucking gold. And you don't just infinitely produce it, right? It has to reflect your ability to either mine it, sure, if you're the Spanish Empire or something, and then you have like more gold than you really should, whatever. The point is it's based in something.
Fractional banking cannot produce more gold.
Right. Also, you had capital controls. So you had basically in this system, like Ricardian economics, which assumes that people are going to like Ricardian economics, like the way we think of free trade doesn't work. And he says this in the books. It doesn't work if like Isaac sells to me a Bangladeshi, like a gajillion awesome Isaac widgets that like sewing machines, and I, a Bangladeshi, like make really low value shit. And then Isaac takes all of his valuable stuff that he, the gold that he's making or whatever you want to call it. And then he goes and puts it in the Caymans and he pillages his own country and doesn't bring any profits back. And he doesn't reinvest. He doesn't pay taxes. All of this stuff starts to fucking break down, right? Which is what the United States, like, essentially, like, we legally mandated that people would do this.
And arguably Trump acted like that was the thing he was going to fix too, right?
Well, Trump hates this part. He does hate this part. This is the thing that's always had Trump like pissed off since like the 1980s because remember I talked last time about how like, the first time people really saw this shit was like Japanese people buying buildings. People were like, what the fuck? Why?
Right.
And it's because Japanese people are getting all these dollar-based holdings that are only good in the United States. This is confusing too. But actually, all right, people should understand this too, because this comes up to like why this is a prison state and why everything sucks. So a currency is, we live in this like global digital whatever, like world where everything's fake. A currency is still tied to a country. It's tied to a place. A currency is only good in the place that gives you the currency. Right. A dollar is a claim on America. Do not steal that. I came up with that and it's fucking good. But a dollar is a claim on America. So when we print all the dollars, I'm
going to tweet that right now.
When we print all the dollars and we give them to all the rich people in the world and say like, go reinvest this and do stuff, so then they flow back into the United States to enrich asset holders, those dollars are claims on American farmland, on American cars, which no one buys because they want farmland and tech stocks and luxury Orange County real estate and all the shit that makes it impossible for you to fucking live because there's so much wealth at the top. That's what they actually want. So by the 1990s, when this is disconnected, did I talk about the Shah last time? We didn't. All right. So the oil prices, we could, whatever. I'm going to skip that. After the 70s, when we go off the gold standard, there's no capital controls. Everything starts to go fucking crazy because you can now just incentivize making a bunch of fake money.
And the idea is that I can print unlimited money, and the only person that can ever call in debts are people that are willing to fight the American military might.
Well,
essentially, right?
Yeah. Another way of looking at it is that you
if
give
you
debts.
If you call in our debt, we'll just go kill you. Right. In some ways, that was sort of the argument, right?
It's more like we'll let other people kill you unless you finance our debt. That was the real deal.
Right.
And so
we can ruin your life because we're the only ones that keep things flowing in the thing that backs the only because when gold was no longer the standard, it just became the US military eventually. Right? Isn't that essentially is like the only thing that backs up the word of the American dollar? Because it's not like one day they're going to be like, well, this is meaningless. They're just printing it. The only thing that keeps them from rebelling against that is us being like, oh, well, we'll go bomb. We'll kill everybody. We'll kill all of you. And we don't do that. I would argue that like the Iran war makes BRICS way stronger. Sorry, I didn't mean to like skip what you're saying, but I don't know.
That's underselling it by like
Oh wait, so how does this make everybody turn? Like, particularly Andrew Callahan was striking because he's a pretty smart guy. I mean, I've been following him for a while. His movie was good. He gets it, but now he's out there saying really crazy stuff, and it's like, how does that happen?
Can I tee this up just a little bit because I'm doing a ton of research on Callahan right now. Yeah, so like basically the thing we're talking about with Andrew Callahan is I just went back and watched. It wasn't even a year ago that Callahan did one of those Jubilee videos where it was like Andrew Callahan versus 20 conspiracy theorists. And this was right after he made that documentary about that guy Kelly, where he posits this theory of radicalization, where he says, if these things happen to you, you're vulnerable to becoming radicalized and believing conspiracy theories. And Callahan's whole brand, basically, not even a year ago, was the sensible Zoomer guy who is the sort of calm nexus that all these crazy people are around. And he just stands still and he's wearing a suit and he puts the camera in someone's face and they say insane shit. And he kind of, shows the conspiratorial underbelly of America. And then there's this clip, a week ago where he's interviewing this Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. And within that interview, Callahan starts by saying it's crazy how much of the QAnon stuff was right. Then he says he thinks Israel killed Charlie Kirk. Then he says he thinks they killed Charlie Kirk as a way to test what would happen after they tried to kill Trump. So they tried to kill Trump and Charlie Kirk. And he says Erica Kirk was probably involved. And he says J.D. Vance is the, quote, clavicular of politics, and that J.D. Vance will be the last U.S. president because he's the most pro-Israel president, most pro-Israel Palantir candidate possible, which to me is fucking insane. And I could go into why that's insane, but do you not? You're kind of like gesturing like maybe that's not an unreasonable position for him to take.
I mean, okay, yeah. I don't actually, there's not one of those things that I agree with, just for the record, just if anyone's listening and is like, directionally, like I sort of see where he's coming from. So like, and one of the weird things about, she'll kill me if I talk about her on this podcast, but a young woman that occasionally gets very mad at Isaac and more frequently gets very mad at me, who happens to report on the president. Sometimes like you talk to people who go to the White House a lot and you're like, oh, anything is possible. Like Erica Kirk and the Israelis, like definitely like something's going on. And that's not it. But like, one of the things that's actually really good about being in DC is like, you just realize how many people go to the Capitol every day and are completely fucking oblivious, and how many other people go to the Capitol every day and are like, oh yeah, this whole thing's a fucking scam. And
or
like
their specific thing they're very knowledgeable about, even if it's wrong, they can convince a congressman to be like, oh my God, this is the most important thing I've ever lobbied for my entire life, even if it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. It's like it's a very easy place to push your, if you get it and you're passionate, like you can move things more than the day-to-day normie that just shows up to work.
It does make you wonder too, like with Congress, like, and I'll get to the Callahan thing. Like with Congress too, it's like I met with like the policy director for a sitting United States senator who I think of as a pretty sophisticated guy, and he would, talking about inequality, and I was like, well, like asset inflation and blah blah blah, and the motherfucker wrote down the term asset inflation. He had never heard it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this was 2 years ago too. This wasn't like in 2016. He wrote down the word dollar system. He didn't know, like, they don't know how it works. Like and that's like, I mean, you meet Congress people and it makes you, for me, like it makes you crazy because you're like, somebody's putting these people in office. Like, what is, like, it makes you think that there is some kind of like Illuminati who's just picking these people specifically because they're stupid. And that's not true of all of them, but it is true. Like, you get these Thomas Masseys in there and there's something like, it doesn't work. Like they have to be thrown out because they know too much stuff. And it's not stuff like they know Israel controls everything. It's stuff like they just know how bills work and they read them. And like, even that just like makes a problem. And so I'm nodding along because like JD is a dark night of some high level conspiracy just by definition, because JD understands how things work and he's understood how things work for a long time. And I talked last time about like JD's like wake up moment, right? And like JD is an active participant in a conspiracy by simple definition of the fact that he knows that this system is fucking the people he cares about most, and he's upholding it for some reason. Like, and he's like not saying what he knows for some reason, and he puts it in political language, sometimes very effectively, because he wants to get in there and administer it for some reason. Like, and we can talk about what those reasons are and whether they're nefarious or not, but like almost by definition, JD is an avatar of some conspiracy. And so like, like what pisses everyone off, the basic structure of it is that like, this didn't have to be as bad as it is. Like, what really sucks is that starting in the 1990s, Greenspan basically like created the tech industry by turning, like military tech into something that was like, he created like super low cost of capital and like a tremendous amount of liquidity that allowed people to build out super, super quickly this information superhighway, which is like arguably a great thing to do. And then we just kept doing basically that type of policy. And so like, we've been basically living in a world similar to the world like that created the Gilded Age, where the government was so desperate to have railroads built out that they resorted to interest-free capital, they called it, which is just giving away free land to like shysters, and who basically like created Gilded Age fortunes for nothing by lying that they were going to build railroads and then kind of build some railroads. And you create this aristocracy out of basically a financial bubble. And the one thing that solves that kind of bubble is a massive crash or a revolution. And America's been like pretty good at having like small crashes because we're super enthusiastic and we're prone to bubbles as a people, weirdly. And we like survive them pretty well because guys like go out and do other stuff and pick themselves up, and we don't have like massive societal issues. So we had 1873, 1893, doesn't matter. We had a lot. And then periodically we also have a democracy that, contrary to all of our friends, like actually does serve a purpose. And the purpose is that it hits reset on the oligarchy. And so like you have that with Andrew Jackson, you have that with Teddy Roosevelt, you have that with Teddy Roosevelt, then Franklin Roosevelt. And then in this system, first of all, we didn't do that at all, basically, after World War II. And then in the 90s, we started like ramping up more and more, like just heating the system and feeding liquidity to the top and rewarding fundamentally like, sorry, I know this gets confusing, but this is easy to follow. Like,
you're doing great.
So another way of looking at the push-pull back and forth in American democracy is like Liaquat Ahmed talks about this in his great book, Lords of Finance, which is a super normie book. Anyone can read it. It's very engaging. You can learn a lot about this stuff by that. It's about the 1929 crash. But in that book, he describes the fundamental bifurcation as people on the Hamiltonian side who think like you're going to do like state policy, state capitalism, and the system rewards people who take big risks and deploy large amounts of capital. And then the Jeffersonian thing is more like you reward thrift and hard work. And we have vacillated as a society between those two things.
Yeah.
Since 1990, if you have pursued anything that involves thrift and hard work, you've been punished by the system. And
right.
If you want to go into this, like in terms of like, here we are, based Mama magazine, you can look at a lot of effects on the right that are caused by this problem. And so like, first of all, we started punishing productive use of capital. So, and that goes back to the 70s when we can't really finance the capital. We don't really have the energy to do it affordably anymore, but we built our whole thing. So every white guy since the 1650s on this continent came here because they like to build stuff and work on the land and shit like that. After 1973, that became like functionally illegal. And you're just sitting there banging your head wanting to build cars and stuff. And it's getting harder and harder and harder. And so your options are accept the gynocracy or become a militiaman. And that's like functionally what every white man in America did eventually. Then you have all these people who grew up being rewarded on like thrift and hard work. That's what they were like told to do. I don't care if you like literally grew up going to Presbyterian church. It's just like this sort of value you got in your fucking suburban school.
Sure.
And you get out there and you see every grifter in America, and you can like, this is the part of the thing that like turns people insane on Twitter. They read like that matchmaking lady, and there's these like insane autistic guys who are like, I'll only have a C-cup Asian 22-year-old. And it's like, why do those guys get to decide precisely like what kind of like cyborg beautiful woman they get when they've done nothing but exit like a stupid like app for organizing how your phone interacts with like B2B. It doesn't make sense, right? And it makes you super angry. Even if you don't know you're angry about it, you walk around living in a world where core power yoga and Sweet Green and that guy just run your life, and it makes you insane. And there's a reason, like we structured the economy to make sure that guy got everything he wanted and you don't. And that's why you're mad. And
wait, which guy? I thought you were just talking about Chud.
No, I'm talking about exit
Chud.
I just mean like autistic loser Silicon Valley guy who like got it. He can't attract a woman to save his life, so he has to buy one. I was just reading that. There was just some viral tweet about some woman.
Okay, so
that's how
you know what I'm talking about.
No, I think it's important because that is the aspirational existence of the Foid, right? Is to have every aspect of their life kind of bundled into some sort of paid. It's like, I got to go to Pilates. I got to go to Sweet Green or whatever. I got to go to, it's like their entire existence is sort of built into the machine you're talking about. And if you're a guy, even if you're the most plugged in guy and you're the slot bowl guy, right? Like, you know, my name's Pajit Shraltarn or whatever. I'm trying to do the same thing, but I can't get the girl, right? Because it just that's not how it works. But you're right. It's like we have created this world in which we've artificially broken normalcy. And so then there's like, I can't even meet a girl unless I meet
hold on. So this is what I was ranting about. because I'm in
You know.
slop bowl hell right now, and
Right.
this is. I mean, this
And
is,
I am
that's
Dude,
where-
too.
Navy
We
Yard,
all
Navy Yard.
are.
We stayed in the Navy Yard. Are you in Navy Yard? It's slop
No,
bowl
I'm
hell.
I'm in DuPont. So, I mean, I'm
Oh,
just
dude,
I'm
go
just
to
below
Navy Yard if you
DuPont,
want
so,
true
yeah.
slop bowl hell. Go to Navy Yard, bro. It is unbelievable.
And like, so I was thinking about this today, so that's why I'm ranting about it. But I think it's helpful. Like, you just said it right. Like, what happens, I think, that like actually really for just like men in America, like completely shredded their brains, is that when you divorce the rewards in the system from material reality, like you actually basically make it impossible to be a guy, because a guy, you're like, I want to make stuff, I want to win wars, I want to do all this, I hate all this like fake like screens, blah blah. And so you have this class of people, I mean, and you made it impossible to be a woman sort of too, because you have this class of people who, like, Hadrian put this so well to me once, and I've been trying, I only now have like the finance background where I can really describe what he was talking about. But we were at a Palladium magazine party, and he asked me, just like, he was like, what do you think the net worth of this room is? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, it's $1 billion, right? And I was like, yeah, probably. And he was like, now what's the guy to girl ratio? And I was like, because I hadn't really noticed it at first. And he was like, I just don't understand how you can have this much money and this little money. Like, just like, you just have so few women at something like this,
That's
right?
a very good point.
And you wonder about that, right? Well, that is literally a product of divorcing rewards from material reality.
Right.
And so like every guy who wants to do something in the material world, and so he's like, actually cool. This is why like anyone on this chat can still pull chicks. And like, this is like the thing that has saved my life, basically, is that like you can pull chicks and attract capital because you do cool stuff, almost like as a function of your rejection of the stuff that actually like rewards capital. And meanwhile, those guys, the reason I'm seeing them like trending on Twitter because they're looking for women via matchmaking service, is that even with a matchmaking service and $1 billion, they can't get a woman because they're not cool. And because somewhere in that you can sense that guy who's an investor in Sweet Green and Core Power, like he just kind of sucks. Like by definition, if your money came from investing in Sweet Green and Core Power, you kind of suck. And so like,
wait, so I'm translating this really quick to Gen Z language in case Gen Z are watching. You're saying that basically aura maxing beats money maxing. Is that sort of what I'm getting?
Yeah, except aura maxing even is just, it's another way of hustling for capital. It's another way of just like hustling for like quantifiable clicks. It's not cool.
Sure.
Like, I mean, but that said, like, yes, that's right. Like those guys are doing a commodifiable digitized.
Well, yeah, no, sex and female sexual celebrity. And because like, yeah, like I don't want the chicks that clavicular is banging. I personally don't, right? And I'm an old troon, but you know what I mean?
No, but I don't think people do.
Right. I think there's an interesting point of what you're making is like, I want like, no. I know Denzel does, obviously. But
you wouldn't want to talk to them.
No, but I think Denzel kind of gets what I'm saying though, right? It's like this idea that like, hey, I made my billions because I did Microsoft like 40 years ago. It was like, you have to look like James Pogue to get that chick. You can't be like, the money at that point is not the level. It's like now we've built some sort of like outlayer sort of rebel world. You know, I'm a rebel. Maybe I'm right wing, whatever. But it's like, it's not. It's like it's always going to be sort of like this. There's always the there's the network level, but then there's like the money level. And if I'm just like, if I'm talking to a chick at the party, you're kind of better off doing something interesting than being like, no, you know, and maybe this is wrong, and maybe this is actually speaks to what I'm saying. Better off being sort of in sort of like a experimental, interesting world where maybe you're making money. And maybe this is always how it's been, but it's like now the private equity guys, was funny, is like the private equity guys are starting to get Hollywood chicks, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like there's like 4 or 5 Hollywood chicks right now that like don't have famous boyfriends. They're all private equity random dudes. that are like, I'm a VP at so and so. I think it's Ariana Grande. There's like a few of these like big name chicks. Their girlfriends are just like non-name private equity dudes, which is like doesn't actually speak to the point we're making, but it kind of does at the same time. It's like you're like low key and different, and nobody knows your name. Like you're cool and different. It's like you're not like the billionaire, famous rich guy. You're like this sort of like low key niche. You're the niche guy that gets it. And I think what that is, to your point, I think maybe it's your point. This is like they're hedging. They're hedging the downfall of society.
Well,
like, there's like
I mean, that would be
there's like
bad.
300
private
people.
Equity bad.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like there's 300 people in New York that like when the entire world does collapse, they might have the last dollars of the American empire. I don't know. There's something that I'm trying to figure out about why it is that like chicks will be with the ugly rich Hollywood chicks will be with the ugly random guy who doesn't have the he's not a movie star. They don't want the movie star. Movie star now is like basically being like a dude that played in a bar. Like a movie star is like your average like bar player now. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he makes $1 million every 5 years. That's not enough for me.
You're missing the bigger story here, which is that like, not to keep going back to the finance stuff, but just
no, please go back to it.
Like finance, think about this. Like this number is probably wrong. Someone's gonna like fact check. This pisses people off when you get this number wrong. But something like 30% of the profits earned in America today go to finance, which is like, for context, 21% of Russia's GDP is oil and gas. So like, it's just beyond petrostate level. Like
I think we're higher than
crazy.
That. Yeah,
it's totally well. But that's only like finance. That's not counting like all of the bullshit. That's not counting like SoFi bullshit, like tech. That's not even counting like crypto guys. Whatever. There's way more of it than that. But my point is that like at a certain point, if you're an Azerbaijani starlet model, whatever princess, you go with the oil and gas guy, because actually like normally like hot actresses marry a rich guy.
Right.
And like
that's kind of what I mean. Yeah.
And like in normal society, like that has always happened. It's just that these private equity guys actually represent something basically new, which is like a sub-elite. They're not the Rothschilds. They're a sub-elite of schmucks who live in a world where like everything they do is incredibly easy because numbers just go up, and we have a giant military.
Okay, so now we're getting to
the number go up.
I think we're getting to the original point, which is why everybody is going insane in this Tucker, what's his name, Andrew Callahan sort of way. Like you what's the connective tissue there? Like, yeah, it's true. Everything is financialized. Financialization is complete fucking bullshit. It is cancer, basically. I completely agree. Look around. It's so obvious. But then, so how is that leading to this new thing where people like Tucker and people like, I don't think Tucker is, I mean, like, look, anti-Semitism is sticky, right? It's a sticky
I don't think those
thing.
things are, I don't think anything
Hold
you're
on.
saying is related.
Hold on. This is how we started this conversation, is it not? Isn't this what we started talking about? So
well, I was trying to give you a war update, but this is important for the war update. But okay.
So, you know, I think that all of these, this environment that you're talking about of financialization, of course, lends itself to anti-Semitism historically, right? This is it's the same process over and over. And anti-Semitism is this really, really sticky thing because this exact thing happened in before World War II. People don't realize they were sending judges to jail for anti-Semitism in Weimar Germany. I don't know if you guys know that. They were sending judges to jail for saying bad things about Jews. in Weimar Germany.
Don't be
So it's like
okay, come on.
this thing
Come on, that's
is
not what
everybody's
we're here
all
to talk
afraid.
about.
Everybody's afraid to talk about it. And then suddenly they realize I can
Don't
talk
ask them
about
what
it.
they were burning in the books. The books they were burning.
Yeah,
all right,
I can talk about it. And then
This
and
is
then
the original
it's fine to
Nazi
talk about it.
podcast.
Right. So I get what the stickiness of anti-Semitism, blah, blah, blah. I understand all this and et cetera. And look, it's plenty of it is justified. The thing that I don't totally get is why does financialization make somebody like Tucker and like Andrew Callahan suddenly like so to that degree where they're going like all the way there? Like it really was weird how Callahan went from like, I'm a completely normal guy who's against conspiracy to fucking
No, that is it's
to,
not
to,
about
to,
finance.
to,
Hold
to
on,
Charlie
hold on.
Kirk's wife had him
That's
killed on behalf of
all-
Israel. Like that's
So
Hold on.
let me just
That is
answer.
all. That's
how
all
this-
Palestine. I don't think that's related at all, personally.
Yeah, well, I don't. Okay, hold on. So the reason it's connected, or the reason that I was trying to explain all that, is that the fundamental basic issue that everyone has is that there's these like little lenses, and like so Helen Andrews would be like it's the gynocracy, or so like leftists will be like it's the inequality, whatever. These little lenses for why do we live in a prison state.
right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And in a certain way, all of them are right. Like it is true Israel controls our foreign policy to an alarming degree, not entirely.
Yeah.
It is true that we live in a gynocracy. Like I shouldn't even say this, but I'm in the conference room this time instead of the little like call thing. And like every one of the white upholstered chairs has like a huge blood stain on it from like, and you just walk in and you're like, you're just like, what? Like,
welcome to the gynocracy.
So
Jesus.
Kind of turns me on.
So I don't know why I brought that up, but it's like a visceral. I'm looking around and it's like the visceral picture. There's like the sweet green things. I'm just living in this world right now, so I'm ranting about it. But okay, so Helen's right, the leftists are right, Callahan's probably not right, but Callahan's what happens when you look at it all and you go like, I don't know his thing, but if your brain goes to Jews historically have made societies into like gynocracies and pussy financialized systems and like ruined everything. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying whatever. If that's where your brain goes, then the Jews offer a comprehensive explanation for it, right? It gets worse when you then know a little bit and you're like, wow. So like in 2006, Mearsheimer, like people like tried to destroy John Mearsheimer for writing a book about the Israel lobby. Like that wasn't even that radical. And then like all of this stuff that we're talking about is basically like driven by the Fed, and like no one, like my career gets destroyed if I talk about the Fed, which is like true. Like for years, like financial journalists just like, that was like the line you couldn't cross. The Fed just does its own thing. And like, you're like, what? Because the Fed is the only political structure in America that matters. So like, what is going on here? And the reality is that we have like a stupid enough system and like a ton of really dumb financial journalists. And this is what I'm trying to get to. So you build up to something,
and they'll call you an anti-Semite if you question it.
Oh, for sure. Just like if people said like globalism, a term developed by people at Davos, like if you use the term globalism, like you're an anti-Semite.
If
like,
you
like,
say
what?
the word they created for you to describe their behavior, the thing.
And so like, what's really pernicious about that is that actually, I don't think that was like the Jews who did that. I think that was people who sort of like, there was useful idiots like, I don't want to say his name because he's a good colleague, but I was on a podcast once with a colleague of mine who accused me of anti-Semitism for using the term globalism.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
that could be every one of your colleagues, to be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't a New York Times person for the rest.
way.
And I was just,
To be fair, not New York Times person. We should give that. We should give that. That is important.
And I was just like, I was so stunned. I was like astonished. I felt like this was like 2021 or something, and I felt like guilty. I was like, oh my god, like, am I actually recycling anti-Semitic tropes? Like, I was like really like weird out. And I realized like he just didn't actually know anything about the term, and he didn't really know like what globalism describes. Globalism describes a thing like we can use another term, that's fine. But it describes a system under which the United States pillages itself by ensuring that we have free markets and allowing other countries to not have free markets, so that they're productive and we're not, and then they send their assets back. That's globalism, like whatever. And we use our military sometimes to preserve that system, in which case like things are running pretty well, and sometimes in the interests of basically Israel, in which case things go awry. That's the story. Like, and like it sucks that that's the story. Like if that's not convenient for you, I wish it was. Like, what's that?
Israel's really bad at this. I think the entire world, and by the way, I think JD Vance is like, hey, by the way, like they're our friends. They're just not good at this thing they do.
Right.
Like,
and
we
so like
be able to have a honest conversation about that without saying like everyone hates the Jews in America. Like, I do hate Isaac and Denzel very deeply because they are Jewish. Would be very clear. I hate them because they are Jewish, not for any other reasons. I love them for all other reasons. I hate them because they're Jewish. I don't hate Israel because they're Jewish. I hate Israel because they're bad at foreign policy. They're not great at foreign policy.
Well,
and America has to own everything they do foreign policy wise. It's insane.
So,
and that's JD Vance's entire argument, right? Like,
yeah. And so the problem with JD, just to connecting this, if people are following this, it is super comprehensible. I promise. The problem that someone like Tucker might have with JD is that JD's criticism of Israel is not like JD's criticism of Israel is fundamentally like basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like lead us by the nose and keep everything going, but don't lead us by the nose so much that we blow everything up. And what a Tucker, and I encourage everyone to go and listen to the thing Tucker did, not like the Hunter Biden thing, but like 2 episodes ago where he laid out his vision.
The 10 point. You like that?
I'm not. I mean,
you liked it.
I'm not going. I'm saying go listen to it. Go listen to it if you want to understand like the moral vision behind the critique I'm describing of this system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tucker's doing that without describing the system. He's describing like what's wrong with it, what the system does, but he's not explaining any of the history or the policy or anything like that.
You know who else had 10 points? Hitler. He actually had 25.
You know who else had 10 points?
25 points.
The racist slaving colonists who created the Bill of Rights.
That's true. There's 10 of those.
Yeah,
also,
so,
10,
and God.
Disturbing.
And the Hebrew God.
Right. How many did Martin Luther have?
Apparently
how many points did Martin
14,
Luther
right?
He had 14.
Oh, no, 96 theses. Fuck.
Yeah, how many did Martin Luther have?
Wait, what's the 14?
Hitler had 25. That's all I know.
I don't want any Jews talking about Protestantism. Okay.
The 14 points
Protestantism.
I'm representing the Christians. You guys don't talk. Let James talk. His name's James.
So, wait, did I have something else? Oh,
yes.
So the thing that I think people do need to understand here is that what Israel's bad at in terms of foreign policy is this kind of like insane belief that the United States is all capable. And that's not like literally Israel's leaders necessarily, because they like do war. So they know that like war is like logistics and like procurement and stuff like that. It's like a real war, blah, blah, blah. But like you have this Israel lobby class of people who like people have probably seen, like we don't have enough interceptors to do all the stuff. We don't have enough missiles. We don't like basically the only way we could win a war with Iran now is by using dumb bombs and losing a lot of pilots. Mm-hmm. And we're not willing to do that. And so like Israel led us to a place where Tucker and Joe Kent and Dan Caldwell and all those people literally like they fucking said this. They have the receipts. This is part of the whole issue right now. They said, if this happens, it's going to blow this thing up and it's going to not be what we hoped, which is a controlled demolition. which I think any reasonable person would hope, because right now the United States, a whole ton of countries could hit a button and our way of life would go away tomorrow. Like because what we've created is, to your point earlier, Harrison, it's not a thing where we use the guns and say everyone has to like keep the dollar. It's that everyone agrees to use the dollar because we create an incentive to do so, and we make it possible to do so through our military power. And so the incentive to do so is huge sink of American demand. We can buy all the stuff because everybody sends us the money, so we can keep buying it. The protection is the US military, which depends on the cycling of that assets. If that goes away, your prison state goes away, but also like all your stuff kind of goes away too. And so there's a balance of terror, as Larry Summers famously put it. Right now, the balance of terror is badly unbalanced, because if something like China has a really fucked up system, and like they'll probably be in a lot of trouble. But for people like Russia, like if they really, really faced like losing a war to Ukraine and its European backers, they would just shut off nickel production. Like they shut off gas exports, and like the world would end. And like they would be, broadly speaking, much more fine than us. And that's not a sustainable situation for.
Wouldn't they just like nuke? Wouldn't they just drop a nuke?
They don't have to. They don't have to.
Right. They don't.
Like I don't. Somebody look it up. But like
So
whatever percentage of nickel production
let me
comes out of Russia, whatever percentage of metals production in general, like probably 70% of metals production in the world comes out of like of refined metal production.
Russia is the leading global producer of nickel.
Yeah,
anchored overwhelmingly by the mining giant Nornickel, which accounts for roughly 96%. So there's essentially one company that run all. So the entire world's nickel production is run out of Russia, who we are in a existential war with.
And because they're cut out of the dollar system and stuff.
Oh, hold on. So this is I guess my point, like, are we just doing nominal fake wars with these people, or are we in a war with Russia?
Yes. And so now, this is why all of this is relevant to everything.
So we're funding Russia's war.
Well, the Europeans.
Hey, buddy, sorry. So it's like your friend is fat, so you're making him run on a treadmill. But on the other side of the treadmill, your friend his fat also has a lot of nickel in it. And so we're buying any nickel. If we need nickel, we're just going to Russia. But we're like, well,
even if we're not,
otherwise,
even if we're not, these are global markets, right? So the real, when I was saying
pricing
to
is
Isaac,
always global.
So when I was saying to Isaac that we're doing hacky sack war right now,
right?
The really crazy thing that everyone probably should watch, because it's like, it's going to affect your life if this goes on, is like the oil price, the crack spread in oil prices, like the difference between refined product prices and the futures prices that you see that they're like, oh, they're so low, has never been larger in the history of the world. So what's happening is that there's a fake oil price, and the fake oil price is part of this whole liquidity game, and like commodity prices in general, they're like actually got hammered.
Is the American military priced in already?
Well, what they're doing is they're basically like they're manipulating like the same thing that you use when you put money into your Vanguard. They're manipulating the bot traders by basically like every Friday they'll say, like when the market's closed, they're like, it's on, let's go. We're going to crush them. And then Monday they're like, peace is coming. Right. And they've just figured out how to manipulate that.
There's too few, largely because of the index funds. There's way too few market participants for the market to ever actually adjust in any way.
Well, hold on, but if I'm doing
this is why the stock market's entirely fake.
Right, but if
there's too few targets for
But if I'm doing the James Pogue, I'm out here, I'm saying I'm gonna do the James Pogue investment strategy, right? Versus like which basically means like I'm going to be more realistic about the foreign policy ideology around everything that's going on. And it seems like that's essentially how Trump's, it's like Besant or whatever those guys are kind of going off of this, which is like, we're going to swing the American dick as much as possible and hope that gets us the return that we want. It seems like Iran is the place where that has lost. Like, we fucked that up.
Yes.
That seems like such
Yes.
it's a
That's the story.
magnificent fuck up to the point where everybody goes, oh wait, shit, maybe everything's fake.
That's the problem. That's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah,
is that,
okay.
like, what they were trying to, there's two interest groups that basically stopped it from being Main Street's turn and having the golden age that you were promised. And the first was the tech people, and we talked about this last time. The second was the Iran war, and all of the people who pushed for that, because those
you're saying the tech guys didn't want us to have the full golden age.
The tech guys like actively prevented it. Like, the tech guys like walked in and said, like, you can't have this. Because in a world where, like, America's future is desperately tied to Nvidia's stock valuation, the one thing that you could have done was what Besant attempted to do when he came in, which is just lower the debt,
right?
Tame liquidity, try to ease this mothership down to a soft landing.
Okay.
And
you can't do that with AI.
Precisely.
AI spending
precisely. That's the thing.
It's almost like funding a multinational war machine. It's like
and so thing, right? you needed to fight the cost of capital down, which is to say, which is to say, keep rewarding risk and keep rewarding rich guys and people who hold capital rather
money
than earners and savers.
For the AI. Okay, that was the last. And that was our last conversation. Okay,
yeah, you need to, for example, like Doge. You needed Doge to work, but like they just like put a ketamine addict in there, and like okay, and then that was like great for everyone. Like I'm not.
But also the American.
My guess is that Elon is like stupid enough to have just fucked it up.
Yeah. But that's not really like globally, almost like America has to operate on such a global level that like American domestic spending is almost like it almost has to always be this collateral damage of like, yeah, by the way, we have to, because of what you said, right? Which is like, you're the reserve currency. You have to just print money. You have no other option. And therefore domestic things get to just be domestic things, and they kind of live in their own world, even though they're not.
No. That's completely wrong.
Well, I know it's wrong. I know it's wrong practically, but that's how they kind of sell it to you as an American.
Yes, domestic spending, or I mean, whatever, federal spending.
Yeah,
drives global liquidity. It is the global liquidity. When people trade, they're using treasury bonds.
People don't realize that, like, the reason why it's okay that we have unlimited illegals is that then we get to print more money for all these people that are just numbers on a sheet, and therefore that creates more liquidity globally, and then that helps us.
That's an even crazier story.
But that is sort of like the fractional leftist ideology, which is that like there's no such thing as federal debt. We can print as much as we want.
But that's not even half that story, right? Because like the dollar-based liquidity in Latin America is like driven by remittances. So like you have that's how you get the dollars out to
global
Latin America.
Economy is basically just American dollars.
But what I'm saying is the way that those dollars flow to Latin America is in large part via remittances. So actually like the like Latin American capital markets are sort of like dependent on American illegal immigration.
Because that's the only liquidity they have, right?
It's not the only, but yeah, it's a big driver.
It's the only flowing money. It's the only liquid. There's literally somebody gave me cash to do something versus like, I don't know, I gotta like figure out a way to get a NGO to give me money. or something.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, or
It's
like because the way liquidity, I mean, the way that like when the Fed,
if I can get
Fed,
a million
like, prints
people to
money,
give me $1,000, that's easier than getting America to give me that.
yeah,
You know,
well,
billion
because we don't give when we print money, so to speak, like that flows to foreign governments.
It goes to
flows
Joe
to
Schmo. Usually,
It does not go to Joe Schmo. When we print money, it goes to foreign governments, London hedge funds. It goes to Dubai. It flows through the top of the system. So remittances actually like are very important.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The top of the system doesn't not create liquidity. That's like the whole Haiti thing, like with the Clintons. It's like we spent $300 million in Haiti. And it created zero value in that country, essentially, right? Because you're not actually giving any liquidity to the market. There's not really a market in Haiti, whatever. That's like the failed. If you're a smart person, you go, oh, yeah, let's just like, if we can just infuse this beautiful island with billions of dollars of cash, they'll all be very happy and healthy people. But that's not how it goes. It goes into somebody's pocket. And then that money goes somewhere else for the most part. It never actually gets there. It's all nominal.
The only way, sorry, we're really off track here. But the only way that like has ever been invented to develop, America invented the only like third world development scheme that ever worked, basically, and that was the Hamiltonian scheme. And it's like you have a surprisingly strong state that doesn't get too involved with like private enterprise. But you have a surprisingly strong state that is to some extent picking winners, that is putting up barriers to allow for development. And I mean, we could go farther into it, whatever. But like that you have to have the strong state, and you do the state capitalism. And like everyone ever who's done this, like escaped this trap, has followed that model. And so Singapore, China, they basically like borrowed Hamiltonianism from us. And then the United States, in order to like preserve the way this system works, we adopted the British thing of like, we have free markets, you guys don't, or whatever, just do your thing. Actually, it's not the British system, but it doesn't matter. The point is that we have a lie. We say that we have a free market capitalist system. What we actually have is a non-national system through which participants like Germany or China do not have free markets so that their productive capacity can be preserved and built up. Their wages can be suppressed. And then we have a free market to allow for their goods to come in and for everything to flow. And so like whenever this is what I was trying to say the whole time. So then you open the Wall Street Journal and you try to educate yourself, and you're Andrew Callahan, and you see Emma Camp being like, look, like consumer goods make your life better. And you're like, yeah, like I have all these consumer goods. Like, why is my life, like maybe I'm just a fucked up person. Like maybe I just like don't enjoy my smart fridge. And like, that's me who fucked everything up. And like, you read the paper and the paper says the economy's going up. And you're like, oh, maybe I'm just a loser because everyone else's the economy's going up. Like, what? Okay. And then meanwhile, like what is actually happening is like your fridge is getting worse. It's actively undermining America's like defense capacity because you're turning us into this society like dependent on supply chains we can't protect. And then like a hectoring 24-year-old is yelling at you being like, you are in fact a loser. Right. And that turns you insane. And like the thing is, all along you've been right.
Well, not only that,
and when you
find
you're that out,
you're and
really
you're not, and you can't find a lot of things to disagree with them with.
Right. Because all the numbers they use are correct. They're just missing the bigger story. And so like,
but hold on, James, is this I guess this is more my question is like, this seems not, doesn't seem to be a solution to that.
Well, it's going to, so the solution is coming. The solution is now.
But the solution is not.
Wait, what's the solution?
What's
the solution?
The market explode. It's over.
Well, this is what
the solution is. The solution is a paradigm shift is happening right now, and there's nothing the United States can do to.
All right, hold on. Let him answer the question. What is the?
So hold on, sorry. Last thing, but is Does Bitcoin?
Dude,
rate
even
there?
Steve is
What
talking
the
shit. He's
solution to
saying
that?
this show's just going on and on forever.
It will
Wait,
never.
oh,
end.
dude, I
Wait,
wanted
I thought
Denzel,
people-
I
I thought
wanted
people liked
Denzel to
this talk.
fucking wait, dude, I wanted him to come on and say the say the Israel rebuttal.
Yeah, but the Israel thing is that no, hold on. Because there's a couple things here, right? You have the U.S. is reserve currency, which protects a lot of them, protects us from a lot of volatility, right? What happens, and I don't even know if this will ever happen. It may never happen, but what is the result of this? What happens?
You're going to have a rematerialization of this economy. That is going to happen. It is now inevitable. There's nothing that you can do to stop that, because there are actors in the world who realize that they have power and leverage over the United States by controlling material resources that we can no longer protect the flow of.
Right.
That is happening under our feet.
Yeah.
And people at the Wall Street Journal can pretend all they want, but it's just going to happen. The question is, like, does that happen in a direction that makes us more of a prison state or less of one? And right now, all signs indicate more of one.
Well, but isn't the most obvious way in which that will happen is China invades Taiwan? I mean, that seems like that's the most obvious way.
Well, it doesn't have to. That's what's crazy about Iran. It doesn't have to be China invading. Like, it doesn't have to be China invading Taiwan anymore, because we basically, like, we broke the fiction that we could protect all the supply lines and stuff by losing this war.
And China also doesn't give a shit about, they're not.
No, I think that's right. I think that basically
China gives a shit.
Okay, Harrison, you gotta stop talking now.
No,
so
that's true, though. But they are
okay.
They're not trying to do like. Last thing I'll say, I'm just saying, they're not trying to do.
All right, you just say whatever you want, man.
Red Dawn in America. They don't. That's not what China. The Chinese do not want to fight a war with us. They'll beat us the other way.
That's true. I mean, they care a lot about Taiwan. They don't care at all about, like, conquering the world. This is like this crazy fiction that has shaped American politics.
Said that they are going to take Taiwan. They've said like openly that it is going to happen at some point. And like that's like certain.
They're not ready. They're not ready. They're not ready to do that, right? Because, like, basically they haven't decoupled enough from us to do that, and so, like, they havenent. They haven't. They would have a lot of pigs that starve to death, and, like, their like food supply would be like totally.
We own every pig. China owns Smithfield.
All right, wait. I want before we're done, and we
wait. Okay. Go.
Before we're done, and we definitely need to be done now, is I want to give Mossad agent Denzel a chance to rebut on behalf of Israel all of this. So do you want to go ahead, Mossad agent Denzel? You're muted. You're muted.
Am I coming through?
Yeah.
Am I coming through? Hold on, let me make sure. Yeah. No, I think James makes a lot of very brilliant points. I think a lot of this is not decided yet. So I think, like, the point that we've lost the war in Iran, I just don't think that's a claim that you can make at this point. Like, I think Trump has done. If you look at the lead up to Iran, you have an incredible foreign policy record. Venezuela worked out incredibly. Everybody said that was going to be a disaster. People said it's going to be destabilization. We're going to do nation building. And it wasn't a problem. In Iran so far, we've definitely not, like, turned it into a liberal democracy, which I guess if that's your metric for success in the war, that definitely hasn't happened. But we have not had major American casualties. We have not, like, suffered territorial losses. We have genuinely set back their nuclear program, which I don't think you can argue with. They were enriching nuclear uranium, and that has been set back majorly. And yeah, I mean, I think it basically plays into this larger global conflict with China that has been building for a long time, where they will invade Taiwan. And I think this is probably one of those things where historians by maybe like 2040 will be able to say the implications of the war in Iran were positive or negative. Now we can safely judge whether or not that was a failed engagement or not. But I think it's way too early, and we haven't lost as much as many people are claiming to say that like this is just an obvious loss. What I do think is happening is you have like a media apparatus that is largely like funded by China and these like Arabic countries that is super motivated to promote people on the right to turn on Trump, like Tucker, like Fuentes. Keller made a great point in a previous podcast. Like, what probably happened with Iran and Tucker was that Trump told Tucker they weren't going to invade because he knew that Tucker would leak something like that to the Chinese and the Iranians. And then that's when the U.S. attacked Iran. So I think there's obviously a connection with,
everything you're saying, though, does not negate what James is saying.
I'm not necessarily saying he's wrong. I'm saying it's too early to judge.
Can I speak to that?
I think everything you're saying is a ideology within a sect of, but yeah, like JD Vance knew from day one this was a bad idea. He was the anti.
Well, JD Vance has been very unhelpful.
Guy. He was the anti-Iran guy, and now Trump goes, "Oh shit! I realize I fucked up. Let me have JD Vance go do, repair on my reputation for this horrible decision." And you can't fix how bad of the fuck up it was. But
I'm not sure I see it that way. I think you can also see it.
Let James do a rebuttal.
I'm done talking on this
language.
Part.
All right.
I'm going to listen.
I'm going to put this in language certain people on this podcast can understand. Okay. So you're the Crusaders, right? And you're like, we came, we conquered, we took Aleppo, we took Acre, like this rules. And now we're going to go fuck up the Turks. And like, you go up there and you fuck up the Turks and you're laying waste to the Anatolian Peninsula and you break, their herds are starving, their sultans are killed, their women are yours, and you ride back merrily and you discover the Turks have taken Jerusalem. Now, the whole point of the crusade is we keep Jerusalem. So you can fuck up the Turks all you want. As long as the Turks can reinforce Jerusalem, you're fucked. That's the situation we're in. And so these metrics that people are using just don't describe the situation, which is that like we left Jerusalem undefended, that's the strait, and we don't have the capability to reopen it. What we could do, and that would be like allow for your historian scenario to be true, is like if you can bring a shit ton of oil supply online, like a lot, and you can kind of bounce this thing along. So like the Iranians are playing for this thing. They've said this out loud. They're just playing for this thing where like not war, not peace. And we're going to break America. We're going to literally break America by constraining supply until that oil hits $200 a barrel. And then everything just fucking blows. Realistically, like that doesn't have to hit $200 a barrel. It just has to be 150 for like 4 months to have like shit really start to go haywire or whatever. I mean, I'm not an oil market guy, whatever. If you could be Besant and Trump and the Saudis and various people in our camp, and you can just fucking keep that shit in like under 100 and just bring stuff on, build those pipelines super fast. Like you could sort of like just sort of negate the Iranian advantage and like save the empire basically. And that would be a win at this point. Like, and I don't know if it would be a win. Like you have to understand that even at Venezuela, the whole point of this game was to run the table. The whole point of this game was to basically have a lock on global energy supplies in order to have some kind of advantage against China in order to renegotiate the Bretton Woods system that is basically parasitizing the United States. And we tried, you have to run the table in order to do that. And so like, Venezuela is not a success or a failure per se. It's part of a larger game. And people talk about this like it's 5D chess. No way. Yeah, way. This is what these people, you're completely fucking retarded. I'm sorry. You're completely fucking retarded if you think that people are not doing this stuff in grand strategic terms. That's crazy. The problem is actually that a lot of people in think tanks and stuff don't know shit about grand strategy or our interceptor stocks or any of this like normal stuff that empires use to sustain themselves. And so they're just like, yeah, we fucked them up. Great. Okay. We fucked them up in Iraq. We've done this forever. We lost all those wars. Sorry. I don't know if anybody noticed. We lost all those wars. The odds are we're going to lose this one. I don't have a big stake in saying like we've lost it now. It's just realistically, if we don't like figure out something to do about the Strait of Hormuz, it's not that we will have lost our attack on Iran. It's that another war will have hit us in the ass and we will have lost that in a much bigger and more important sense. So that's my update there.
Did you have one last question?
No, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, what I'm hearing there is there's a contingency, which is the Strait of Hormuz and our ability to control supplies through there. And that's very serious.
Why
and
do
if
you
we
think
were able,
Oh God! You just had you put the mic away, and now you brought it back. what are you doing? Take it away from yourself.
We America,
Yeah,
the
he's talking about
United
America.
States of fucking America,
lost the war. I think we should all be big boys.
Dude, by the way,
put our big boy pants on. We lost the war. Okay.
In my country, while we're still fighting a war, we don't say, "Oh, America, we already lost." Do you think the Iranians are saying we already lost the war 2 weeks in when their president got killed?
That's the problem.
No, they're now. They didn't. That's the whole.
We're in the third quarter. The scoreboard has not sounded. I'm not going to say that we lost the war before the end of the fucking war.
I'm sorry, James. I had to explain to the Zoomer how wars work. When you lose the war, you lost. It
does behoove you.
It's not like a lot of other people think you won.
Is the war over?
Yes, it's over. We lost the war.
Well, it's completely over.
No, because it is. Hold on, Denzel. I want to be very clear about this because in order for us to continue the war, it requires us to further deplete our entire arsenal, which is essentially public knowledge in a lot of ways. Like, we should just acknowledge that we are fucked. We lost the war. And there's no expert that thinks we won. This isn't.
I think the reason we lost the war is because
I don't know. What I'm hearing,
we lost the war because we went to war with somebody that we did not accurately understand where they were. No, and probably we did. By the way, we went into this war because of Israel. This is very clear, and everybody in our leadership said this. And this is probably why Rubio, there's a very good chance he will become president in 2028, is because he said, hey, they said they were going to fucking kill our soldiers. That's why we did this.
Yeah, what Rubio said was
Israel is our
announced
guy.
What Rubio said was Israel told us they were going to attack, so we had no choice but to attack. So what Rubio said was we had a timeline for this, and potentially Israel forced our hand to do it faster than we were planning to. He didn't say we did this because of Israel. And what Rubio's saying in there implicitly is we have always had the policy of not allowing Iran to have a nuclear weapon. That's always been our position. And we may have had to move faster because Israel was saying they were going to, invade immediately, or they were going to initiate strikes. Yes. But he wasn't saying, oh, we've been completely happy with Iran having a nuclear weapon for decades, but we changed that policy overnight because of Israel, because they asked us to. That's not what happened.
Hold on.
We gotta give James, our nice guest, the last word here.
Yeah, give him the last word.
Before that, I will say I think it's lost insofar as
I cannot believe we just did the most. I'm sorry.
This is impossible.
Isaac,
just let somebody finish a sentence before you start talking.
Okay, I'm done.
Let somebody talk. I think that you guys are both right, man. Neither of you guys are wrong. It's like Denzel's correct that the war isn't actually over yet. Is there some possible way that tomorrow it could go the way that we want, and we're out, and the Hormuz and the Strait is open, and blah blah blah. It is possible. Is that going to happen? No, but it is possible. On the other hand, I will say that James and Harrison are completely right in the sense that I think the big loss here is this totally destroyed MAGA, and it destroyed the perception that the United States could control these resources, as you're saying, without a ground invasion. And really the only way to do this would be to have a ground invasion and force the strait to be open. And what we showed is that air supremacy is not enough at all. And so all this threat that we had of being able to control things is basically out the window. And so what I think this leads to is very obviously a Chinese invasion of Taiwan, which I think is the sort of upshot of what you're saying about this fake hacky sack economy, is that, okay, well, what are they really going to do? Are they going to, they could bomb things, but they're not going to ground invade. So, all right, let's give Pogue the last word here. And then we're done. Then I got to go.
Yeah. Let's do like a geopolitics thing next week. And we'll just like actually talk about this. Like, and then people won't be hanging on at the last third hour.
Yeah, because it's almost 4 hours here. We got nobody's going to make it this far.
Okay.
No, I just
Shut up.
Oh my God.
All right. Hold on.
We got to get this guy.
The thing that I think people need to realize is that when we talk about like whether it's lost or won, like back in March, Michael Every, who I think is very smart about this stuff, was like, the US is going to destroy all their steel production and energy production and power plants and water production, like if we don't get this open, like before a deal. And his point was, damn, they have you kind of like, it's looking, you're in check. You're not in checkmate, but you're in check, and you're going to have to like make some pretty crazy moves to get out of this. And my thing to him, I encourage everyone to look up Michael Every. He's a British guy. He's very smart. I don't agree with everything he says, as proved by this, where I was like, that's going to be politically untenable. We're not going to destroy all their power plants. That's due to the political conditions within the United States of America at this time do not allow for that. And he was like, well, then your empire is going away. So again, when we talk about who wins, who loses, whatever, these are conversations existing within reality. Yes, we could send a bunch of 45-year-old aircraft over Iran, lose 1 out of every 25 of them, drop dumb bombs on everything we find. Yep. And like, there's a degree to which we would probably like put them in the ground for a bit. The flip side is that their response would be all of these truck-sized launchers that they're using to hit Gulf energy infrastructure would start flying stuff. And then you would have a situation where you had, like, America was facing an economic meltdown, possibly in order to like keep this whole thing going, right? That's what we're talking about when we talk about like, could we pull a rabbit out of the hat? I just want to be realistic. And so
you're
like,
saying you're saying there's a lane in which we get to like rev up the military industrial complex without a downside?
Well, we can drop dumb bombs. We have plenty of dumb bombs.
Right.
But we don't have the standoff munitions and the army missiles and stuff like that.
Right. But like, it's like, I don't think that's economic stick.
No, we're talking about like, okay, my left hand is broken, so I have no defense. I'm just coming in with the right and swinging hard and hoping this works.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like, we're not actually putting ourselves in a position where this is going to work out well.
No,
I don't think there's any way out.
What I just described is 1 billion people in the third world starve. Right. Like that, we're talking about like you can't. We're talking about stuff that is going to go very crazy.
And this is what he should have known before.
Right?
He should have this before going in. And of course, it's fucking retarded.
He did know.
This is what everybody fucking said was going to happen, and everybody was like, "No, it might not."
He did know. Exactly, but when Miriam Adelson and Tim Dunn and all the big names, I
don't even really think, is that really the reason? I mean, is Trump really sitting there being like, Miriam Adelson wants me to invade? Like, no, he's not doing it.
All right, we're gonna let's just talk about this next
time. We got to save this for next time.
I've got thoughts. Yeah, next week.
We'll save this for next time. Okay, thank you, James.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.